Anyway, I love life and I love everybody right now. How you doing? Look out. It's only me. It's only the Kimmer. The Kimmer Show podcast, for crying out loud, with Pete Davis. Now, hey, you guys have hats with Pete Davis, sidekick, producer, and sports raconteur extraordinaire. And now, what is that? A Braves hat?
The WGST hat, remember?
Oh, it's our old radio station hat.
GST hat.
And sports raconteur. Now, the latest Holy Crap at Sports. I think you did. I talked to you yesterday.
Yesterday, yes. And by God, I have a river view doing it right now.
You're in a temporary residence because you got flooded out, and you're actually still looking for a place to live, which is pretty cool. And again, if you want some help or cleaning or moving or whatever, all you do is go to the stable and then, softcore porn. So that's pretty much, sorry. Well, in fact, I think it's my weekend editing girlkiss.com, but I got to check. Anyway, I'm sorry. All right. Well, we can erase that part. With Flounder, the mechanical mangler, here at El Condo Flounder, and the podcast, Lucas, up in the window, and happy to be here. Now, you got a hat on, too. What the hell? You both have watch hats on.
I actually got this one when News Radio, and Pete has one, too, I think.
You both got
Yeah.
I don't
It's
remember.
the Jake's Pool Service, I think.
Yeah, Jake's, yeah.
I'll be damned. Well, that's cool.
I sleep in that one, I think.
Anyway.
Think of Jake.
And this, as we speak, it's Thursday, the 5th of January. Oh, I wrote 22 on this one, 2023. Yeah, it's the first time I made a mistake. And I've written out all my checks, and I remembered I did them all to 23, but this is on my notebook. Yeah, I had to. Anyway, what's the matter?
No, nothing.
Oh, you're making fun of me?
No, I hit the mic.
Sorry. Lots of newsy things going on today. New stuff on the Idaho killer case. Wow. Man.
He's crazy looking.
He's got to be asking for, anyway, we'll talk about that. Also, the Speaker of the House business and whether we're actually seeing a Democratic Republic at work, and some very, very serious newsy type stuff. We'll talk about, let's see what else we got here. Aliens. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to take a lot more fun on podcast. Also, the latest on Jeremy Renner update. Also, we have some comments on the Buffalo Bills player. And Flounder just sent something as we were driving in here. Tell us what the update.
Damar Hamlin is, I guess, awake and responsive.
But what did he say?
I had.
The headline said that he woke up.
Did we win?
Yeah, he said, "Did we win?" Which is a great sign.
Nobody did, yeah.
Anyway, so
no, we couldn't finish the game because of you.
Yeah, the loser. We're taking away your man.
Well, I guess if that's the case, he didn't. Obviously, there's a lot more to do, but he has brain function and he's alive.
And he's functioning. They say his neurological function is fine, which is very unusual. So obviously, he didn't lose that much oxygen to the brain.
So when they were pumping him throughout that whole time, that probably made a huge difference.
I guess
once on the field and once in the ambulance. I heard on the way in here.
Yeah. So. Anyway, so that's good news. That's one good thing. So we've got a lot of newsy stuff, and we'll play some comedy sound things just for the fun of it and stuff. We're doing Christmas carol jingling here to go, and a couple of update things. Okay. Oh, first of all. Boys, congratulations. Our affiliation with the Dickey Broadcasting family at 106.3 has come through once again. Our December payroll for being affiliated with their podcast park is $232.33, which, by the way, comes out exactly.
We're moving up in the world.
Huh?
We're moving up in the
Every
world.
month it's better.
Well, it's a couple bucks better, you know. It helps. So $234.33, which comes out to $78.11.
What?
But being the generous person I am, I'm confiscating your 11 cents. But I
think last time you gave us more, so
I
should.
am giving you $80 instead of $78. So from 1, 2, 3, 4 20s for Flounder, 1, 2, 3, 4 20s for Pete, and there we are.
I should take Pete's since his.
I'm homeless.
And his gift card that he got.
Homeless.
Try
Literally
that old trick,
homeless.
are you? Next, we'll be seeing you driving that Porsche in the gas station as it for $3 to fill it up.
And kindly remember this.
You know, the last time I caught a guy and I totally embarrassed him, and I mean, I really shamed him, you know, and it was obvious that he, you know, I mean, what a crock. Anyway. Turns out he was a priest and was homeless. Well, no, I joke. Okay, so we got news. We got all kinds of newsy stuff and various things and TV. I got to do TV stuff and a million things. But first of all, before I forget, the Mega Millions jackpot is going to be $1 billion.
Yeah, it's going to be $1 billion.
Okay, so I thought about this. If you win, you're playing. I see we're going to get by a couple tickets, obviously. So if you win, we have all said to all of our best friends and close friends stuff. If I win, man, I'm going to give you $1 million. I can't wait to give you a check or bring it in a cashier or whatever. $1 million.
How would you do it?
Well, if you win $1 billion.
How do you do it though? Cashier's check?
Oh, well, no. You go to your accountant and say you either have an account that doesn't cost them the tax liability or something. You have to work it out. But they have a vet. You're giving them $1 million, and I wonder whether you can give them a credit card with $1 million credit.
I doubt it.
Or whether they have to pay tax on the value of it only when you spend it. See, I don't know.
A promissory note.
You could be a for a cheeseburger today, I'll give you $100. Anyway, but I got to thinking, if you win $1 billion. If you only give me $1 million, I think that's pretty skimpy.
Well, you may not win all of it. You may just get a third.
Well, the other thing is, remember last time we were talking, remember how much they took last time?
Well, I looked it up, and actually, if it's $1 billion and you take the payout after taxes, you'll get about $300 million.
No.
Yes, you will.
No way. They're going to take $700 million. What
the
fuck?
No, wait a minute. First of all, if you take the lump sum, if you win $1 billion, you have to take $1 billion over 20 or 30 years. If you take the lump sum, it's a portion of $1 billion. The lump sum portion of $1 billion is about $700 million, and about 60% of that, depending on your state. In the state of Georgia, I looked it up. The last one they had was if the figure was $800 million, you'd bring home almost $230 million.
So if you take it over
after taxes.
if you take it over 20 years, how much
you get it all?
But
every
that's
year.
what I'm saying. So like, how much do you get a year?
Well, you get 1/30 of the $1 billion, or 1/20th, whatever how many years it is.
I mean, for us, that would kind of suck.
No,
so
you don't live that
when
long.
we croak, does the dependent get it? Do you say who gets it after that?
No.
You mean they keep the money? Once you want it, they keep the money once you
Yeah.
die?
Well, I don't. Well, now wait a minute. Hold
Come
on a
on.
second. That may. I think.
That's shooting words right there.
Well, no, there are things now that like that Publishers Clearinghouse thing. You can put you're a dependent on their annuity.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the lottery. I'm not sure. I don't know whether you can legally put it as part of now maybe if you have it going into an inheritance every year. I mean into a fund, then clearly whoever wants to draw out of the fund is liable to keep doing it. The money will keep going in there. But again, that's why you have lawyers and accountants and stuff.
Okay, a 30th of a billion would be what? You're the math guy.
Would be 1.5 trillion. 10 billion, 100 million, so it would be 300 million.
Yeah.
Or it'd be
300 million a year.
It'd be 30 million.
30 million a year.
Yeah.
You could live on that.
Yeah. Of course, that's not, and then you take tax out of that, so it would be 20 million a year.
Oh,
and again, so you'd still get more than if you took the lump sum after taxes, but again, you'd have to wait 20 or 30 years, whatever the payout. I don't know what it is. I didn't know. Anyway, it
almost takes the joy out of it.
How'd you like to win $1 billion and give your best friend $1 million? You say, you cheap son of a. Can you imagine?
You got family to take care of.
Yeah, but if you're something like my golfing buddies, Big Dave and Danny McLefty, all these guys, and Wayne, no offense, they're in my list, you guys, and I think if you had $1 billion, hey Danny, here's $1 million, you cheap bastard.
Yeah, Danny would say.
After all the golf I got you. Anyway,
and you know what is great at doing that? It's almost as great as the list of people you won't give any money to.
Or when they have the news conference on live TV. First of all, I would do something like. Plus, what would you wear? Would you wear a suit and tie? Would you wear like a biker outfit? Would you wear cowboy clothes? Would you, a t-shirt and jeans?
I got it on.
But really think about that. Well,
because I'm getting if I won the next suit I would get would be from Savile Row in London.
Well, there you are. Anyway, I don't like they're too boxy like Brooks Brothers. No, I like that Verio Signacchio or whatever his name is, Senia, Valentino Senia,
Kingsman,
something like that.
I like that look.
Anyway, that was my wedding suit for Sarah's wedding. So anyway, what the hell was I talking?
What you would dress like.
Oh yeah. And the court asked you questions, and I would first of all, I think I would probably do something stupid as they're going to. What are you going to do with all the money? I say, well, I don't know. I know I just if I only had a girlfriend or somebody I could help share it with and figure out what we could do, and stuff like that, and just for the fun of it, And then they'll say, well, what? You've been married a couple of times. What are you going to do with your, I don't know.
Well, the first wife would get some money, right?
Oh, she'd get it all. I mean, my kids and I tell my kids, okay, you're now retired, and and you can set up some kind of a charity foundation thing and run it if you want to or whatever.
Is there a charity that you really like the horses or something?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I would take care of all the, veterans and families and scholarships and computer. I mean, all the things you could do with all that money.
Because you have to give away some of it for tax purposes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, most of it. I mean, if you take home $300 million after taxes. So I have 2 daughters and the ex-wife, but I get so they're 3. So each one would get $30 million, and then say, okay, now let's give away the $150 million.
The segment of the show where Kimmer divvies up money he's never going to see, brought to you by Atlanta Custom Closets. You need a closet that big just to put all the money in
Yes,
and jump around like Scrooge McDuck floating around in it. Go to closetpro.net, 404-255-0589. It's Atlanta Custom Closets. Ladies love the closets.
They do. Trust me, they'll make her very happy. You can buy a lot of closets with $300 million. Also, would you rank your friends? I'll give them $500,000. I'll give them.
Oh, I've already got that. I have maybe one friend I would give, but I give you and Flounder something. My family would get something, and then there's I think one friend that I still are keeping, maybe 2, that they get something.
Well, I have a few. I have very few close friends, but all my friends who have abandoned me, from the '60s and the '70s, and I think it's political, but maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. But things that they were sort of I'm sure it's me. And I think one of my closest friends, old prep school buddy friend, has basically ditched me. And I think it's because of something that he may think that was involving me, but really wasn't. Because I remember back in like 1962 or 3, there was an incident with our preppy group or something. Anyway, just stuff like that. And I'm thinking, fine, screw him. Yeah.
Luis says that chances are you dropped dead before getting it all. And he also said that it was his wife who told us 2 days ago that God's watching us. And Steven says Kimmer would be broke by lunch.
First thing I'd do is get enough cash to go kiss a pretty girl.
Go find that bitch in Montreal that wouldn't kiss you.
No 2 kiss, all right, here. How about $1 million?
Have you ever thought that she's probably dead?
Oh, I guarantee. I was, I was 18.
What, in the life she was leading?
I was 18 years old. It was
How
after.
old was she?
20 probably, yeah. Well, she might be. Well, she might have been. Oh, she was older than I. No. I'll bet you. Well, it's hard to tell. I mean, she clearly was, a woman, but she was probably early 20s.
Well, I hope.
Well, no, she wasn't a teenager. She was definitely not like a high school or college girl. She was probably 23 or 4 or 5.
Not a geisha house you were in.
And she was gorgeous. It wouldn't let me kiss her. And I was so disappointed. It was horrible. Anyway, whatever. Okay, so much for that. Right. Now, speaking of money, apparently I just saw something pop up on my phone. Bed Bath & Beyond is going broke.
What?
Yeah, Bed Bath & Beyond is going bankrupt. And the reason is they can't get anything. People aren't buying the stuff. And when they do, they can't get resupplied. And they think they're losing so much business, they're going bankrupt. And it's because they, took on the MyPillow guy. And people like me and other people are saying, well, we don't need you then. Screw it. I'll go to freaking Walmart or whatever and look for my bath brush.
I'll tell you what, if you were hard up for a gift, that was a great last place to walk into.
Oh,
just
you're right.
Grab a candle or
you're right.
soap or something.
Well, fancy towels or, things for the guest room or, my God, they had all kinds of stuff in there. A lot of things like that. So anyway, but the word is they're going bankrupt. Wow. And it's looking pretty bad. Also just in, this figures that crybaby Adam Kinzinger, that Tucker makes fun of all the time. He's now a commentator on CNN, baby. The Republican Adam Kinzinger. Yeah.
Either a lobbyist or in government or in the media.
Just
it's
like
one big cluster.
Clapper and Brennan and all of them are all, and there we go. And CNN.
Circle jerk.
That's right. Yeah.
That's what it is.
They got their boy. And it was just, I thought that was pretty funny. One kind of update on a thing that I really don't care about, although it was of interest, and this kind of surprised me. Prince Harry, a thing came out, I don't know, it was a tweet or something. His book is coming out or came out, I don't know. He's got a book out, and in the book he tells about how he and William had a meeting, I think in London. I think it was over in the palace or someplace. And they had a meeting to talk about the dispute between the two brothers and Meghan Markle. And it got so heated because Prince William, the older brother, married to Kate, the older brother William was saying that she was rude and difficult and abrasive, and she just what a nasty witch she is. And so they got into a tussle, and William hit him and punched him so hard that he knocked him on his ass. And when Prince Harry fell back, he broke a plastic dog dish that cut into his back, and he had scratches and wounds. He admitted. I mean, and then Prince William said, "Get up and fight like a man. Get up and fight like a man," and he wouldn't do it. He wrote that. He admitted that scene.
What's wrong?
So I don't think it's. Why would he make up a scene like that? You don't think it's true? Why would he say it if it wasn't true?
So he's not only a cuck, he's a wussy.
He wrote it down in black and white.
He went to war. William didn't.
He's a yeah.
He knows how to fight.
I know. I'm telling you. But this business with that, and William was, chicks,
What's
man.
wrong with that family, the Wallace Simpson type? They just can't keep away from bad women.
These chicks. Well, look at the Princess of Pork, Fergie. Having her toes sucked by their Texas boyfriend in public.
I filled in for Tom Hughes one morning and interviewed her, and I asked her some really question that was real sexual, and Miller laughed out loud. Miller laughed out loud when I asked it, and it went right over her head.
When you're going down memory lane with your boyfriend, whatever. Anyway, that book is out, and I guess it's pretty. I mean, I couldn't believe it.
Are you gonna read it?
I'm not gonna read it. No, I mean, a highlight, and I thought, oh my god, and now I don't care again. I mean, it's really. But I feel bad because I've lost so much respect for Prince Harry. And again, not that it matters, and I don't really care, but whatever. Did you have any storm damage the other night? It was Tuesday night. This is Thursday.
Rained. I'll tell you what, man. The Etowah River went from a nice little lazy stream to a raging torrent yesterday.
They had to shut down. I think it was 285 or 85 had to close because it was flooded out.
Yeah, it's bad.
At my place, the lightning strikes were like it was right in my room. I mean, they were all over me, and the power flickered a couple of times. But the only thing we lost, by we I mean the place, the townhouse place, was we lost Comcast. It figures, and this time for some reason. Now normally when the power goes, even if the television goes out, you can still watch your DVR because the DVR is in the box.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but this time, even though the box still worked, because it said, we should get the station back shortly, which means there's something coming to the box. But this time I tried to play the DVR and just wait out the storm watching my movies I had on there, which is fine. And it said, not available, call your local. And I said, oh, you dirty. So now they're making it even worse. And by the way, I just got my bill in the mail. I think I left it in the car. I just got it in the mail. It went back up another $30 a month. After I went through the whole rigmarole to get back.
I told you, the funny thing is I was over at a buddy's mine's house over the holidays, and I was having breakfast with him and his family, and they were telling me his Comcast bill is the same amount as yours.
And I don't have everything. I don't have. I'm not extravagant. I don't have everything on there. Anyway, so much for that. All right, storm damage. Oh, I took down my Christmas lights, so make everybody happy. Just for the record.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
2 days ago, I talked to the apartment manager, and he says, yeah, and I go, what about the rent? And he goes, oh, we're talking to the owner and everything, working out some kind of waiver thing like that. So I'm taking that as, okay, I'm not going to have to pay rent because I'm not living there this month, right? So I get there today, and there's a note stuck in my door. And it's basically come to the principal's office immediately, you know, blah, blah, blah. You owe your rent or something like that. I go, yeah, I'm coming down there. You fucking find me.
Yeah.
So this is two very tone-deaf, insulting. One's an email and one's this little note stuck in the door. Instead of giving me a call and telling me what's going on 2 days after saying, not going to have to pay the rent, now they're demanding the rent.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what's my legal right here? Tell them to go shove it, that I'm not,
Well,
it's uninhabitable?
You know, I'll bet the problem is that since you can still get in there, that legally you probably still. I don't
unsafe.
know. I can't imagine that they would sue you if you delay paying them until this is all worked out. It's got to be worked out in the next couple of weeks or something. They got to figure out what they're going to do, right? So if nothing else, I would say I'm not paying until we find out, what the status is on this thing, and whether I need to get a lawyer to sue you people or whatever, and just put that threat out there. I don't know. I don't know. But again, what a bunch of bullshit. Not only do you have to clean up the place and move, and
I don't have to clean it, but I have to clean my stuff.
Yeah, but and then you're not even living where you normally live, so you don't have your stuff. You don't have your life, and now you got to find a place to live. That's like the trifecta. That's like being flooded out, burned out, and you lose your stuff, and you're not where you want to be, and then you got to find a new place. That's.
Yeah. And they sent an email out last week. The first third of it was, "Oh, sorry, this happened to you," but the second 2/3 of it was basically, woe is us. We had to come in on Christmas.
Yeah.
We have to work really hard here. And please do not say anything bad to us.
Hi,
hey, cat.
kitty.
Look,
wow.
there's a cat.
You've jumped right up it.
That's a first.
Oh, he's excited about something. What has he worked? Does he want a potato chip?
No, he can't get a potato chip. They're a little greasy.
Cat, you can't have a potato chip.
Oh, they're greasy.
He said, just look at my finger. He says, I know.
That's the first time he's jumped up on the table.
Yeah, that was right in front of me. I scared the crap out of me. First, I don't know if you saw if the camera was on. Anyway, so that sucks, man. Pete, I feel bad for you.
If anybody knows out there, do I have to pay this?
Well, okay, that's one question. The second question is, if we have listeners in North Fulton County, is that where you're looking?
Well, I'm looking up 400.
Okay, north of the perimeter, 400 north of the perimeter. I don't know that you want to go too far east like Johns Creek, which is a little iffy.
No, I want up 400.
So you want to go 400 north and northwest, kind of that an area north of 400. Alpharetta, Roswell, and up to Canton.
Milton, Alpharetta, Roswell.
Milton area, stuff like that. So if you're a listener and you have a rental property, what are you looking for? You need a 2-bedroom place or a
roof?
Well, no, I'm sure you need a garage.
I need a garage.
So I need a
place that's
to park
covered.
the car.
Park the car.
Covered area for your car.
2 bedrooms.
Okay, and a couple of baths be nice. Or,
a couple of baths be nice, because you don't want the
now, do you care whether it's
I'm telling you, like we talked about this earlier, going up 400 north, look at McFarland and the exit past there, and I think you'll find something right up your alley.
But now, do you want an apartment? Do you want to rent a townhouse, which is 3 stories and nobody below you? Which I love.
I don't like climbing steps anymore. I don't like that.
Really? Oh, I kind of love it because I don't have to worry about making. Or do you want an apartment or do you want a separate little cottage or behind somebody like a carriage house?
I've always liked houses.
I did that once when I got fired the first time in Atlanta before I got my job back in '91. I went over to find my final wife. For a thing there, and I was renting a pool house behind this rich gay guy's sort of semi mansion in the Garden District, and what a funny memory. And he had a pool house in the back, and I rented that, and so I could use the pool anytime I wanted to. But he was, what's the matter? So I got to pay a pond to be good for you. Anyway, and he had these 2 little dogs, and he never cut their nails, and the nails were curled like this, so they had to run with their sideways. And I said to him, God, and I guess it was so bad that they couldn't do it anymore because the roots were in there or something. So and they had to walk sideways. And I thought, oh, you stupid go. And he was very affected. In fact, one time I was trying to open the lock and it wouldn't work, and so I called him, or I motioned him. He came over and he goes, you're going to have to do it. Take care of it. I can't do this. And he kind of ran into the house. So I paid my rent on time, and he left me alone. But what a freaky experience. But it was a carriage house, and that was great.
I once looked at a carriage house, a little one off North Druid Hills. In Ponce.
That's a great place for carriage houses.
By the golf club.
Absolutely.
And there was a carriage house behind it, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It wasn't ready yet, but it was beautiful.
Now, do you use like that rental.com places or one of those things?
I don't know. Yeah, I like to drive around and just look at stuff, but we'll do it. Enough talking about it. As Crazy says, no, Kimmer was someone's pool boy. And someone says, thank God this flood didn't happen to Kimmer. That's all we'd hear for 2 hours. We probably heard enough.
You bastard.
So let's move on. Let's talk about the Idaho thing. That's pretty amazing.
All right, we're going to do all that first. Where's Flounder?
He's eating.
Okay.
Me.
Well,
So
remind me to talk
the
about
Idaho
this.
thing. Speaking of potatoes, let's do the Idaho crime thing.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask Flounder too, because he maybe heard it.
Well, let's wait till he gets back.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do, and then you said do the.
Oh, there he is, right there.
There. Okay, very quickly. Do you guys ever get get on binges with a thing where you eat the same thing for all of a sudden you get a hankering for stuff?
Yeah,
and you,
absolutely.
Do you? Man, I don't know what's the matter with me, but all of a sudden I got a hankering for what we used to call salt potatoes. My father used to call them salt potatoes. These little tiny little one bite potatoes. Yeah. And the other day in the store, what's that?
Ash potatoes.
I've never heard that, but it's true. These are called bite-sized potatoes. But anyway, the other day in the store, there was a display at a place where I was walking that I normally don't see things like this, and I saw this and said, oh my God. And I was having the greatest memory of how we used to have a little thing of, butter, and you'd put a little salt on it, dip it in butter, and bing, bang, and I remember how good they were.
Did she cook it in milk? My mother would cook them in milk.
Yeah, that's one way to make good mashed potatoes. Put a little milk in when you do it. Anyway, and so there was two. I'm buying a couple of packs. There was 2 for 1, so I brought a pack. If you guys
I'm not
want
cooking
them
right now. So.
Well, Flounder, he's gone again. Anyway, all right. I've got these. Somebody.
Hey, Kat,
Anyway, I brought an extra pack. If anybody wants salt potatoes, and I love them, and you boil them in water for 8 minutes or something, and then I cut them a little bit and put butter on them and salt, and I have them with my meatballs and gravy. Delicious. Anyway, so there you go. Now,
the cat just opened the door behind you.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he just completely opened the door.
Where'd he go? He's getting a little more tolerant of his. I can't believe he jumped up on the table.
Yeah,
like
it was like I'm
boom,
here.
He's here. Yeah. Let's see. Before I forget, I think I sent you a video of the other day at the stable. Okay, I've been getting a lot of grief and a lot of feedback on Facebook about my car. Now, when I go to the stable, it's a very low-lying area. So if it rains, it's wet as a low-lying area.
Low life.
But the only real bad part in terms of driving is when you kind of go in and you go down a hill and then it flattens out. And the very bottom part of the hill is very likely on real bad rain that mud's going to get in there. And the problem is this: as you know, remember we talked about it during the snow. You were able to leave that time, and I was not because my car had so much torque that it wouldn't catch. It was too much for the slippery thing. And so and it's a true story. A couple of months ago, I was leaving the stable up where the hill, kind of a hill like this, and it's part driveway and part grass. And there was a lady was coming into the gate, and so I moved over onto the grass, which is kind of on a side hill like this, and it had just rained and it was wet. And so I parked on the side to let her go by, and then I tried to take off again, and it wouldn't move. The car wouldn't go. And the more I goosed it, the more it started sliding sideways into the fence where the horses are down below. So I stopped immediately, and I walked all the way back down to the stable and said, can I borrow a couple of you guys? And sure, so we had to have them come up and push my car so I could get it back on dry pavement stuff so I could get out of there.
There was something with horsepower right there. You could have hitched up.
I know. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I'm so embarrassed. And I said, you have almost 800 horses. Yeah, anyways, and we had to push it sideways. Yesterday, when I was going into the stable, I'm driving down the hill and I look in front of me and there's about 6 inches of mud. And it's I couldn't just leave my car halfway down the hill. It would block the driveway. So I said, oh God. So I said, I better just go roaring through there and just take my chances. And I mean, it wasn't 6 inches, but it was all mud. It was all mud. So I said, and there were tire tracks that people had gone through before. So I said, screw it. I'll just go through. So I revved it up like that. And the mud was just flying like crazy. I don't know why I didn't think that would happen. Anyway, if you saw the video of the mud on my car, and when I finally got home, And I showed all the mud in the car. And this is why I don't, they want like $50 to wash your car these days.
Oh, more than that.
Yeah, I guess,
That's a cheap one.
that's the regular hand wash. If you want them to actually do it well, it's like 63 or something.
Well over 100.
Well, I guess can you guys do you guys have to do hand wash for your cars?
Yeah, the tires are too big to go into one of those pull things.
Yeah, I don't like doing that.
But I wouldn't pull it. Yeah, I wouldn't. But I haven't done that in a year. I mean, I wash my own. I wash my car 4 or 5 days a week, and that's why because I go to the stable 4 days a week. Anyway, so then I got ripped, and people saying, "Hey," there's a lot of feedback on the Facebook page. In fact, a couple of funny ones said, "Kimmer, did you see the horses rolling in the mud? Your car wanted to follow suit or something," and they were making fun of me, saying, "You need to get rid of that thing and get an old truck." And I mean, it's just it's abuse. It's Mustang abuse. And screaming at what Mr. Shelby would do. Anyway, and then it figures after I washed the car off, of course, my driveway was had mud and dirt and stuff all over that. So then I took my hose and I was cleaning and I took video of cleaning the mud off my driveway. And by the way, the point of this that I mentioned, if you hadn't seen the video, was every guy I know, well, it's not, growing up as kids, every friend I knew, including me, loved to play with a hose. If your father said, "Hey, hose off the drive," you'd make a game out of it. You hit and miss, and you're hiding for the thing, and I'll get you. I mean, how far can you spray with the thing? I mean, it's a guy, it's a guy thing, and we all know why. It's a guy protruding of the shooting of the guy. So okay, but you can't, so when you're learn how to go to the bathroom, it's you can make a game out of anything with a guy. So anyway, so playing with a hose is really fun. I mean, it's really. I mean, every time I've done it, and recently when I'm playing, and so my message to parents was, if you don't realize this, I don't know whether modern day people even have hoses or do anything with that. Anyway, I said, if you have a 7, 8, or 9-year-old boy or girl and they're bored and know what to do, tell them to play with a hose. Spray the house or clean the driveway or go down the gutter or something or other. So sure, I'm trying to be Mr. Happy Time, cleaning off my driveway and whistling while I work. Mr. Positive Happy Attitude. And sure, oh geez, Kimmer, I bet your freaking neighbors don't like the mud going down the driveway. Oh, it's a gutter. It's not going in their house. Sorry.
We have Scotty and Brandon both begging for the bell. Maybe we should do a topic.
Let's do the Idaho thing. Let's do the Idaho thing. You want to do a quick sponsor thing,
I sure will.
The Idaho News sponsored by
Idaho murder story brought to you by, and proudly so, FarmhousePrintingCo.com right here in Sonoya, Georgia. Nobody gets murdered in Sonoya. It's such a nice place. They got all the custom shirts and hats and signs, promotional items that you can swing a cat at. No minimum order, no setup fees. Get 1 or 1,000. It doesn't matter. They'll do it for you. If you have a photo you want on something, they'll do that for you as well. They do all the Kimmer Show stuff, all the Holy Crap at Sports, Drink Up Shriner stuff, Shannon Burke, anything you need. And now with laser engraving. FarmhousePrintingCo.com.
They did such a great job on the blanket for Podcast Lucas and the gifts for my family and stuff. Honestly, it's beautiful. Flounder, do you like these bite-sized potatoes? If you do, you can have them. Pete can't.
I'll try them out, yeah.
What's that? Okay.
I'll try them out.
By the way, one more food thing. We're up to food.
Yeah.
My sister's paramour is from Chicago.
Oh.
And his brothers are from Chicago, and one was visiting, and the other one lives here. And they go, "We need you to go with us." I go, "Where?" "We're going to the best Chicago-style thing in Atlanta." And they found it's up in Milton. It's called Bobby G's Chicago-style pizza.
Aha.
And I'm telling you, it's the best damn pizza I have had. And it's not deep dish, because they were telling us that in Chicago, they have their own brand of thin.
Yeah.
Style that's not the deep dish, and that's what we got, and it was incredible.
Well, 4 out of 5 stars.
4 out of 5 stars. Well, it's great, and the service was good, and and I got the meat sandwich too, the Chicago meat sandwich that you dip in the au jus.
Yeah,
and that was good for the
French
appetizer.
Dip. French dip.
Oh my God! So I'm telling you right now, that's a damn good pizza, Bobby G's.
Excellent.
They're not paying me to say that either. That was just good stuff.
Well, there you are. And that's where? It's in
Milton.
Milton?
It's in Milton.
Excellent, excellent. Let's see. I've still got things we got to Scott. Idaho. This was just breaking, again, as we speak, it's Thursday afternoon. A couple of hours ago, the court, the suspected murderer of the 4 college students, was in court back in Idaho, and they therefore were able to release the documents that allowed the police to charge him and the prosecutor to charge him with various crimes. So now we know why they arrested him. And this story just came in. I'll just briefly, again, we can't be a newscast because we don't know when you're going to be watching or listening to this. Anyway, here's what happened. The Idaho murder victim's roommate heard some crying and saw a guy in a mask that morning as it happened. One of the victims heard crying, opened her door, saw a man wearing a black mask. She was identified as DM. 4 o'clock in the morning, she thought was the sound of Kaylee playing with her dog on the 3rd floor. Later, she heard concaves saying there's someone here. She looked out her 2nd floor bedroom, didn't see anybody. The roommate opened her door when she heard crying from another girl's room on the same floor and a male voice saying, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." A security camera near the bedroom captured distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, and then a loud thud at 4:17 a.m. The dog started barking. The girl opened her door again, saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking toward her. The male walked past her as she stood in a frozen shock phase. He walked by her, exited out the 2nd floor sliding glass doors. She locked herself in her room. 8 hours later, a call was placed to police from one of the surviving roommate's cell phones reporting an unconscious person. 8 hours later? And Kohlberger, this is amazing. Kohlberger left behind the sheath on his knife next to the girl's right side. The sheath is this. This is a Marine Corps K-bar, which actually stands for killed a bar. And the sheath, this is very sharp, so I'm going to be careful here.
Yeah, don't kill it.
The sheath is the leather part. And it was identified that it says USMC and Eagle Globe and Anchor, which I think they can probably see that. Can they see that?
Yes, I can.
Okay. They found some blood or some male DNA, may not have been blood, could have been skin, or we don't know, under the button snap, which is this, of the sheath. And there were some defensive wounds. One girl was apparently awake when she was ambushed, according to the documents released this morning. And again, this was, I don't want to be brutal about it, but you need to know what it was like. The reason this is a combat knife is because this guards your hand from sliding down the blade if you're using it. If you have a hand guard, if you're using a kitchen knife and you're trying to do something like this, you're going to cut your hand off. If you don't have a guard on it like that, I mean, anyway, so I don't mean to be gruesome. But this is the actual, it's a K-bar. This is the actual, I've had these for
Did you see the part where they figured out that he had been pulled over by the police 2 months before the murders, a mile and a half from the house. So he knew those girls, or he knew of them, was chasing them.
Two more things about that, too. There's a lot of really interesting stuff coming out about this. Speaking of the cell phone, the investigators tracked his cell phone the night of the murders, and it was nowhere near the scene of the crime.
Right.
So then the cop said, you know what, let me check a little before that. So he went back months before that, and for 2 or 3 months, 8 or 10 or 12 different times, his cell phone was at that area, pinging off that tower. He stalked them, or at least one of them. And that may have been, although they cleared what they thought was a stalker, but again, they showed by the pings, and the cops said, most killers, if they're smart, don't bring their cell phone because they know you can ping the cell phone tower these days, so they leave it somewhere else. But all those other times, he forgot to leave it somewhere else, and so they have a whole bunch of times of him, and he had no business there. He lived 9 miles away, so he was there for a reason. Anyway, so that was another thing. Also, did you know, and let me find a little more of the story here so I don't get it wrong. The reason when the Fox TV, Idaho FBI, the FBI directed the Indiana State Police to pull over the car when they were arrested, when they were pulled over twice on the trip home. They were pulled over twice, and the reason they were on the pretense of speeding and then following too close, but they were not given a ticket. And the reason they weren't given a ticket is because there was no reason, that wasn't why they were pulled over. They were pulled over because the FBI, apparently not the Nazi surveillance secret police team, the other regular FBI had a surveillance team tracking them the whole way, and the FBI asked the Indiana police to pull them over and have the cops a body cam video running and make sure that they got some pictures of the hands of the kid.
Huh.
Because they were now saying, we think this, now they had enough evidence that they were following the car, and I guess they had, I don't know whether they then had the cell phone towers in the area or whatever, but they had enough evidence to say this is a suspicious guy, and if this is the guy in the white car we've been looking for, make sure you get video of his hands. And so remember, you sent video to us, which is kind of hard to hear, or was it you or Flounder? I think it was you sent Flounder, sent Flounder and me the video of the actual body cam video of the cop, and it's kind of hard to understand, but it's your comment was and yours was, it sounds as though the cop is a little suspicious from talking to these people, and the reason was he was trying to make sure that he was there long enough to get shots of their hands in case there was evidence of cuts or blood or something like that, and also to see in case they found a knife in the backseat or who knows, it was something stupid, but anyway they did it twice, making the cross-country trip. Let's see, the traffic stop discussed an incident near Washington State University, and the father said, well, we're coming from WSU, and the cop said, what's WSU? And he said, we're coming from Washington State University. You're going where? We're going to Pennsylvania. MA just went on, and he was just dragging it out to see if he could get evidence to use in the case, which is pretty clever. I mean, you got to,
You mean the FBI was actually doing their
job?
It
was the old the regular FBI, not the Chrissy, the chicken-livered, yellow-bellied Atlanta disgrace who needs to be impeached and put in prison. By the way, those FBI agents, Gummy Bear and Peter Strzok and McCabe and Comey and former Attorney General Loretta Lynch, I mean, all of them need to go to prison. Yep. They were in and Hillary Rodham P. Stinky Fart Cabbage and Jake Sullivan, who's still working for the government, need to be in prison. I don't mean jail. I mean federal prison for what they pulled was a coup and deceitful destruction of the Constitution. Anyway. So the good FBI, the regular FBI, we used to appreciate FBI, did some great work on this too.
Ephraim Zimbalist Jr.
Quinn Martin production. Bang!
Bang!
V7 or whatever.
Mark
V2,
4. Mark 4.
4 was, I thought it was 7.
I don't.
It's Mark 7.
I don't know.
Flounder, if you would, sir. I'll guarantee you, Quinn Martin production, bong. In fact, if you can get the sound of the end of a Quinn Martin TV series, bang. We'll play it because we can do anything we want. Anyway, and so now, he's in no bail. And he's there, and the judges issued a gag order, so there won't be any news conferences about what they think, but at least the evidence shows. But how stupid can you... The sheath was by the body? First of all, how is it possible that you could leave the sheath? And the only thing I thought was maybe this was one of the people who was awake or fought back and maybe grabbed at him and happened to grab the sheath, and he maybe didn't even know, or if it was dark, it was in the dark and he couldn't see, he didn't want to stand around trying to look for it. I mean, I don't know, but I'm wondering whether maybe her or his fingerprints, whoever the victim was, are on that sheath, may be the reason why he left the sheath. But it was right next to the body. You're going to kill somebody first of all, with a knife, and you're going to leave the sheath there?
That's sexual, the knife thing.
That's real personal.
Yeah, that's he either...
we believe
he was enamored with her, or she turned him down or something, and he stalked her. And I don't know why he killed more than one. Maybe he liked more, because they're beautiful girls.
The other thing is... I mean, but if he's a criminal justice major, I mean, he's got to be a psychopath.
He looks like he's psycho.
It's just no way to explain this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You never know who's sitting next to you. It's like a song, Heathens. You never know who's sitting next to you. And another thing, when you're out in public, like road rage or something like that, if it's a total stranger and you're nutting up on them, you don't know what they're like.
That's right.
They could follow you home.
Yeah.
They're nuts.
Yeah.
Pick that. In fact, that's my thing. Someone messes with me. I say, it's like the Clint Eastwood thing. Remember, what was the one in Detroit? Because you ever had those days where you just mess with the wrong person?
The wrong time, yeah. You made a big mistake. Yeah, been there. Anyway, what a kid. Oh, and also apparently when they got to the house, they went through his garbage and to get DNA from the trash and the garbage outside the family's house. I think before they even got the warrant, as part to use as evidence to match DNA left at the scene of the crime.
They're gonna get it from him.
Well, no, before they got the arrest warrant to prove that they had a reason to arrest him.
All right.
I mean, that's great.
What
work.
was his
Great
reason to going back to Pennsylvania?
End of school, I think. It was the end of the
End of school. It's the beginning of school.
Christmas break was the 20th of December when this happened.
Okay.
Or was it?
He was driving back for Christmas
with
break.
his father flew out there to drive back with him for
That's
the
when you
spring
go.
Christmas
That's when
break.
you're coming home forever.
Well,
really?
well, again, one other thing I read, and if my memory serves me correctly, if this guy did it, what they're saying is he committed these crimes, drove back to Washington State, or drove back to where he lived 8 or 9 miles away, and went back to his class and everything else for another 8 days. Then his father flew out, and then they drove back together. So he just went about after he did this, he went back about his business for another 7 or 8 days before the break happened. Jeez. I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Lori says, they say that the other girl saw him while he was at the house, and then he came back to the house at 9:30 in the morning. So did he come back twice?
Well, I didn't hear. I don't know. Again, this is kind of breaking as we're. I don't know the latest. And again, it's hard to be a newscast, but he went back a second time.
According to Laurie.
And again, I remember I saw that in the cache that it was 8 hours after she did the thing that she called the cops, or somebody called the cops. But again, if you're in a party house and you hear somebody out loud screaming or doing something and you don't think anything of it, and the dog's running around, well, the dog probably peed on the floor. I don't know. And you're 21 and probably drunk. I don't know. You can't blame the victims. But what a terrible situation. Anyway, okay, and now something slightly different. No, we got more. We'll do a speak of the house thing before I forget. This floored me. Let me see if you think you have a reaction to this after I pass it along. Right. No, I can't find it now. Hold on. Here we go. I'm going to read to you. As you know, I told you I go on Twitter once a day, maybe twice a day for 5 minutes, see what's trending. Oh, by the way, well, I'll get to it in a second. First, okay, so I'm reading this tweet, and it's called #ScumMedia. This was in 2020, but look how they clashed. It was Anderson Cooper and a Republican. Look how they clashed. Anderson Cooper thinks government should tell business how to do everything. He is full of propaganda. This was a #ScumMedia, and the person who sent it, the name is Johnny Midnight.
Yeah, he tweets a lot.
Now, wait a minute.
Did you trademark it?
That's me.
Mr. News Monster? No.
Yeah, this isn't fair.
There's more than one Johnny Midnight.
I have to tell my Johnny Midnight story. The last time I told it was like 3 years ago, back when we were working, and I didn't even tell it on our radio station. I told it working with.
You can tell the Johnny Midnight story if you give us a Johnny Midnight.
Well, I don't have one.
No, I'm not saying right here, but I say in the next month.
Yeah.
In the next
By
month.
the way, your cat wants your potatoes. The last Johnny Midnight story, when I told the story of Johnny Midnight, was with Shannon Burke. Back when we had that 8-week job 3 years ago.
Well, you told it on the Extra one morning. Remember, I made you do.
That's right, too. But again, for those who don't listen to the radio station,
just tell it.
All right, okay. This was, and I don't even remember the exact year, but it was. I'd just gotten out of the Marines. I might have been. I was driving cross country. This had to be 1970 or 71, maybe. I might have been on the way from graduate school. I don't know. It was 69, 70, 71, just out of the Marines. That area. I'm driving cross country, west to east, and when I drive, and I was by myself driving to meet my family or something back east in New England. And I was driving. When I drive a lot. I might drive 13, 14 hours. I mean, I'll stop and get gas and maybe something to drink, Coke to wake me up or something. But I just hate to stop, so I keep going anyway. So I'm driving along late at night, and it's approaching the witching hour, and I'm driving along. And I'm picking up some radio station. Again, it's almost midnight, and I'm in, I think it was either Montana, North Dakota, way up there somewhere. And I'm driving along. It's almost midnight. I'm listening to the radio, and the station I picked up, I don't know, God knows where it came from. And there was a guy on there, it was a rock station, rock and roll, and the guy, this was again like 1970, and the guy's playing all the hits, and his name is Rockin' Johnny Midnight. Hey, Rockin' Johnny Midnight here, playing the hits, round the sound of town in our clown town, and I got those stacks of wax and tracks, leaving all the wax with all the hacks here with Johnny Midnight. Boom, bam, boom, woo, 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 playing all the rock stuff. Yeah, it's Rockin' Johnny Midnight, bam, boom, and he's doing all the stuff. Coming up, we're going to have the latest from the Supremes and the Box Tops. Oh, yeah. Hold on, we got news coming up. And then you hear ding, bum, 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 bum. Good evening. Here's the news. John Midnight reporting. I almost swerved off the road. I thought, who are you kidding?
John R. Midnight. Esquire.
John Midnight. What an idiot. This was 50 years ago. Or more. Anyway, that's my Johnny Midnight story. And how should I see this on Twitter? That's me. I stole that fair and square. Anyway, all right. Now
You should have responded like I'm Johnny Midnight.
I'd probably get sued and kicked off of Facebook. Speaking of, I'm surprised I didn't get. I forgot to mention this about washing off my car. When I was washing the mud off the driveway, I made a comment and I said, when I wrote down the video of that, and I said, hey Greta, Greta Thunberg, hey Greta, I'm using Mother Nature's water to murder innocent mud. How do you like me now? And I actually got a reaction from people around the world talking about Greta would not be very happy with you right now, Mr. Peterson. Anyway, I thought that was fairly amusing. Let's see. Holy crap, it's sports. Any way to tell when you might do another one? Maybe over the weekend?
Maybe tomorrow. I'm going to try and do one tomorrow. I got a lot of cleaning to do tomorrow. I mean, packing, but
yeah. Okay. Well, again, if you want some help on it, or you want to do, I don't have any facilities for anything, but again, keep us in touch for helping with your place, whatever. Let's see. Okay. Now, should we talk about the Speaker of the House business? Speaker of the House. Here I think it's we can't be a newscast because you don't know when you're listening. But he has
now filled the eighth.
Number 8.
Number 8.
Okay. Now it's the decision on who's the Speaker of the House. I am in total favor of what they're doing. I say shut it down. I say don't give in to these people. And a couple things about why McCarthy has got to go. 3 things. He's the swamp. Secondly, he had 2 months. Here, the difference between, we keep talking about the Democrats and Republicans, the difference. The Democrats with Nancy Pelosi, she never did anything until she knew she could pull it off. She didn't, throw something out there and hope that she could get away with it. She rounded up her troops, got them together, they made their deal, and she went forward. McCarthy had 2 months to get his people in order to say, I want to be your speaker. Yep. And he knew for 2 months there was a whole cabal saying, no, sir, you don't deserve it. And one of the reasons he didn't deserve it, and I think the most important one as far as I'm concerned, you want to talk about sticking to your guns, is he was all in favor of that $1.7 trillion budget bill that killed the Republican chances of setting the budget agenda for the next 2 years. I mean, he allowed that to happen.
He allowed that, by the way, which enables the 87,000 IRS agents that they said they were going to get rid of.
Secondly, about that bill, I mean, there's a million things in that bill. It's all woke. It gives billions for border security for Ukraine and Pakistan, and it forbids any money being used for border security to Mexico.
Cut the money off.
And again, the 20 people who are fighting him on this, one of the things they're saying is, okay, so whoever's going to be speaker has to say this: not one more dime for Ukraine until we stop the border in Mexico.
Right.
Period. I mean, that would do it. That alone would probably do it. Anyway, so now these 20 people are saying, we're not budging. He doesn't deserve it. He's screwed up. He's not a leader. He had 2 months to get this done. He's voted for all the wrong things. He talks a big game, but he doesn't deserve our support.
Well, the amazing thing about that, first of all, it does show how incompetent McCarthy is and how incompetent the GOP has become under him and McConnell. McConnell's doing show-ups with Biden in
well, that's
Kentucky
the
about
other
that.
thing.
But here's the thing about the Republicans. They screwed it up. But this shows that at least on the Republican side, the process works. It's not supposed to be a rubber stamp and we
Right.
put them in there. They're supposed to argue about it. They're supposed to fight. We don't see the Democrats do this because they basically cut their balls off.
Yeah.
Remember the tribe, or what do they call it? The group, or what?
Squad.
The squad.
Yeah.
They came in there. We're going to change this. We're going to change that. We're going to change how things are run here. They've been gone for 2 years.
You haven't heard much about them lately.
Because Pelosi cut them off at the knees.
Yeah.
And basically, everything they said they do, they haven't done any of it.
Yeah.
Because the Democrats don't do that. They all come into the fold. They're a hive mind. The Republicans at least have some people like Lauren Boebert, who went on Hannity last night or the night before and got in a screaming match because he's completely bought and paid for by the GOP now, in my opinion.
He's the swamp. He's in swamp.
And someone
to his
said, you know what? Carpe Diem says, you could start replaying old Sean Hannity shows right now, and it would take months before anybody complained or figured it out.
Yeah.
It's the same thing every time. And basically, he's yelling at Lauren Boebert because she's doing her job.
Yeah. He's yelling at the Congresswoman.
Yeah. Who the fuck are you?
The dropout,
Yeah, she's been elected.
Yeah.
She's been elected. You run your mouth about you're going to do this, you're going to do that. You never do anything.
Yeah.
You just take your money and live out in Long Island.
Yeah.
But she's doing something.
Yeah. Well, in fact, before we go too far, you brought up an exactly perfect point because not only was it he, it's also his little girlfriend. Let's see. Ainsley Earhart is very upset with the House Freedom Caucus. They need to get the party on board so we can move forward. This is how politics works, and it's driving people crazy. Tiffany wrote in, wow, Brian Kilmeade just called the 20 members of the Freedom Caucus not only saboteurs, but insurrectionists.
They call them terrorists.
Brian Kilmeade,
Yeah, that cross-eyed dipshit.
Yeah. For Fox News to declare the Freedom Caucus as saboteurs tells you they are in the pocket of the deep state. The Freedom Caucus is made up of conservatives trying to make changes for the good, not the bad. The Republican Party is inundated with the deep state and needs to be purged. Fox News just attacked the Freedom Caucus. How's Daddy going to explain that to Peter Doocy? Did Steve Doocy really call the Freedom Caucus saboteurs? Peter Doocy also. I mean, Steve Doocy, the old man. For the first time in a long time, we actually have representatives who go to D.C. and do the right thing. The talk on Fox this morning was sickening. You're saying everyone should get on board with the swamp. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Because they're all getting paid off. It's one big circle jerk up there.
And you mentioned by the way, thank God. And again, Twitter. I'm actually, when I go to Twitter, I'm having kind of fun because Twitter's now allowing the comments against these leftist woke idiots. Andrea Mitchell and Chuck Todd are getting creamed on Twitter. They were saying, "Well, do it for the good of the institution." I said, "You idiots! This is the institution." You don't cave in for the good of the institution, which is not supposed to cave in. I mean, how dumb can they be?
We're supposed to be in charge. Screw the institution. It's supposed to be about us.
I know. But again, it's like they're not. They don't see what they're saying
because they're being paid not to.
Well, it's all this knee-jerk liberalism. It's so they have to stop making up from point A to B. It doesn't matter.
And they're worried about the perception of it. Oh, it looks bad. It looks bad. Who cares if it all crashes and burns? Yeah. If we're getting done what needs to be done. If you're right, you're right. Stick to your guns. Yeah. Literally.
And have you heard about Cori Bush from St. Louis, the Democrat? She's that black-hearted, soulless witch. Race-baiting hater. She called the guy Donald from Florida, the big black guy. She called him a token. Yeah, he's just a prop. And he's excuse me, a prop. A black woman calling the black guy a prop. To be used as
remember what Whoopi said? Don't be back talking to the black guy.
That's right. They're gonna take that shit off of you, lady. And then you mentioned another problem with the Republicans. This figures right in front of the Ohio River. President crime family joined Senator Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, the Republican minority leader, at Brent Spence Bridge. which is in Covington, to Cincinnati, part of the White House to begin this year focusing on attention to instances of bipartisanship, which is exactly the wrong thing the GOP should be focusing on right now, is how we can all get along with our fine president. So Mitch McConnell, loving our great president to show the support of the Bridge of Freedom across the thing. Oh, please, I mean, I just want to punch him in the nose.
Praised his economic plan.
Jesus.
That guy's no more on our side than Hitler was.
Mitch McConnell is also the gentleman, the senator from Kentucky, is the guy who said the number one issue for the Republican Party in 2023 is Ukraine. He said it.
McCarthy walking around with the Ukraine flag saying he's America first.
Cultural misappropriation. Anyway, unfreaking believable. What the hell is that? Let's see. Oh, and I forgot one thing about the Idaho thing. Can you imagine? This was to me, it's hysterical. When the cops went to arrest him, they did a pre-dawn raid and they got a no-knock warrant. And by the way, a no-knock warrant is very difficult to get, especially in Pennsylvania, because of the gangster's girlfriend, whatever.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Philadelphia.
And the moving where they firebomb the house. Anyway, no-knock warrants are very hard to get, but they got one. They had enough evidence to get one. And so they went in through the doors and the windows at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Your whole house is being crashed in by
the Blues Brothers.
Guns. Oh, man. Can you imagine? One other political thing which I thought was pretty funny was the Senate swore in the monster of Pennsylvania. Fetterman, it went, I, John Fetterman, do solemnly swear, he deserves to be mocked. Don't be mocking me. He deserves to be mocked. He's a freaking monster. He's a fake. And the reason you can prove it, have you seen all the pictures with his wife, Brasilia, the switch hitter? The bisexual Brazilian immigrant. I mean, that's how she's described. Every single picture of him being sworn in and being pictured with fellow politicians is of her in the front.
It's her.
There were pictures of her being congratulated by the senator, what's his name, from Massachusetts, and from the fake Indian girl Warren. Their picture with her and with the wife, not with him, but with the wife.
She's the senator.
She's going to run the Senate seat.
Yeah.
And they knew they elected her, and they were fine with it, congratulating her on the victory. That's your Democrat. And they were fine with it. Yeah. The Democrat Party. Hell, the New York Times made him one of the stylist chiefs of the year, and the Democrat Party saluted him as a great presidential candidate. Not making that up either. One more thing about politics before I forget.
All right.
And we'll have actual fun here. We're going to have some fun at some point. A lawyer in Colorado sued the government under the Freedom of Information Act and he wanted all the documents that relate to the Biden family and any gifts or transactions with foreign governments.
Uh-huh.
And the response came back, yes, there are more than 400 of them. And so the guy said, well, we'd like them now. And the lawyer filed the thing and said, well, we'd like them. And they said, suddenly they said, oh, well, no, we really can't confirm or deny that we have any documents after all. Which is isn't it the Treasury Department still hiding the bank documents of 140 of them or something, showing that they got in some shady dealings with banks around the world, covering up the Hunter's bank fraud once again. Freaking unbelievable. Let's see. Hold on.
We got a blast from the past coming up pretty soon too.
Okay. An audio blast from the past?
No, something that. Sounds pretty funny here.
Also coming up, Pete, we're going to talk about aliens from the Scottish point of view, possibly.
Right. We can do it right now if you want, the blast.
Do the Jeremy Renner. We have an update on Jeremy Renner.
We do?
I thought you were going to tell us about his snowmobile.
The snowmobile
thing.
It's his. It's 14,000 plus pounds.
This is like one of those tractors that pulls, tractor trailers or something. Treads on it.
Flounder, you ever see the Shining with Jack Nicholson?
Oh, yeah.
The end of it, Scatman Crothers, the black man,
I know exactly
is coming up there, and that's what he got run over, except it's bigger.
It's a cat.
There's audio of him. I don't know. I haven't watched this yet, but do y'all want to see this? This is him in the hospital. So.
From in the hospital?
Get this thing off me.
Jeremy Renner, the actor, the great patriot and military
Can't believe he's
supporter.
alive.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He's so sexy.
Check it out.
Literally, look at all of our blood.
That was the first shower. I was definitely weak or so.
Oh man, that's hard to look at.
The cat is in my
That's
case.
hard to look at. They saying that he might have lost a leg on that.
Look at kitty cat's in my case.
Okay, that's great. Okay, let's focus here. Let's try. Focus on the show.
All right.
So-
I'm taking the kitty cat. He says,
But anyway, it's 14,000+ pounds. It started to run, and he jumped up on top to get in it, and you got to get on the tracks to get in it. And his foot must have got caught, or he slipped,
man.
and it rolled over him. This thing could have, it could have chopped him up.
Did he get crushed into the snow?
Probably.
maybe?
Probably saved him because he was in
I was
snow.
gonna say. And I can't remember his name, Ken Brock or Ken something, that got killed by his snowmobile because he went up a hill and it came over backwards and killed him, crushed him.
Yeah. These things are dangerous.
Oh, they're very. Have you ever been on one? I have. I'll tell you what, they're fun as hell, but they're also big machines. And if you're going through a
powerful.
gully or a thing, they're very powerful and very, very heavy.
Right? Do you remember this? Sky Magazine.
Yeah, Delta. I used to get. You look at it. I used to take them. Used to look at it all the time.
All right. Yeah. I'll hold this up right here. This is from, let me see which, 2003 or 2004.
Wow.
Because we were still at GST, March of 2004.
Okay.
And somebody was flipping through this.
Yeah.
And they called up your show one day and said, hey, you guys are in Sky Magazine. And we go, what? He goes, no, not just you, Kimber, but Pete too is in it.
Oh my.
So someone brought some in here. This is before Wayne worked it there. It's called Under Her Wing, talking to a young lady named Montine McCord who lives up in North Georgia. And basically she saves raptors, owls, hawks, eagles, and stuff like that.
God.
And somebody was flying on the plane and reading about this woman and gets to this point right here. Who cooks for you, the occupant croons? Two soulful brown eyes peer back at me. And McCord says, this is Snake Davis, my new barred owl. All right. And she goes on talking about Snake. Snake Davis is a new guy on the block, a non-releasable owl that McCord has. McCord, who named Snake in honor of an irreverent Atlanta radio personality she admires, mourns that he can never return to nature. Well, she goes on talking here, and I think she also mentions you in here as well. I can't find that at there.
Well, you never.
She was talking about me a little bit. So, but anyway. So I remember you told her, and we were going nuts on the air about this, and you told me I should go meet her, and she called up and said, "I want Snake to come up here and meet his namesake." All right, and throughout the whole thing, she's talking about it. So I went up and met her. Remember that?
Yeah, but I don't
She's
remember.
a very nice lady,
Yeah.
beautiful lady, and everything.
I do. God, was that in Helen or so? Where was she?
She's up there. Gosh, where is
Was it
this?
Helen or
40 miles north? Now, 2004, 40 miles north was out there.
Yeah.
Now it's not so much.
Yeah.
But because I remember going up there, and it was out of the way up there. And nice lady.
damn.
Turns out she was in, let's just say, alternative religion.
All right then.
And there were some other incidents I will talk about off the air that happened that we talked
that's
about. Because
funny.
I don't know. She may still be listening. And if she is Montine, I hope Snake is doing okay. And she
I'll
let
be
me
damned.
she let me hold the owl and everything like that. Those things are magnificent.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful. Have
Just
you ever seen one up close?
Yeah, remember one came in remember one brought one in the studio one time when Shannon was on the show?
Yeah.
They brought the owl in, and I got a picture of it. So, or,
Was that her? You think that was Montine McCord?
it was an owl or an eagle, but I remember it was on my head for a little bit. And
Yeah,
I don't remember that. I don't remember that. I must have been in the
must have
hospital.
I've got pictures somewhere. I'll see if I can't find
But anyway, I
them.
was going through all my crap,
Wow.
and then I'm going, why do I have a Sky magazine? And then I looked at it, it's like, holy cow.
That is very cool. A walk down memory lane
Yes,
with
it
Pete Davis. Also coming up, what was your reaction when she said, I love you? But first, I love my flag. I got some very nice comments the other day when I was when I was washing my car, and I showed a picture of my flag, and then washed my car twice. Thank you. And by the way, it is coated, so I never wax it, and I never use soap. I just use water. I just wash it off with the water, wash it off and dry it. Anyway, so I showed the flag, and you see how beautiful red, white, and blue. It's just the colors are as crisp and bright as they were when I got it a long time ago from flagco.com. One of our longtime sponsors, flagco.com. Beautiful job. Not only the flag, and I have the white pole with the silver thing. You can get all kinds of ornaments and lighting kits and beacons and gold and silver stuff and mounting things. And in fact, they can help you figure out how you can put it on a brick wall, which is not doable for most people like that. And again, if you're looking for an American flag, I promise you, if you think you can get the job done by going to the grocery store or someplace, you're really making a mistake. Flagco.com will walk you through exactly what you're looking for. They have all kinds, and it's not just American flags, it's every country flag for that matter, every state flag, every military flag, banners, homemade things you might be looking for announcements or something. They've got all that kind of stuff. They did custom flags for waste management, for Volvo. They do stuff for people all over the country, all over the world for that matter. They have a website to see what they do, a gallery on their website, which is flagco.com. And here's the phone number, 800-962-0956. And by the way, if you're into tailgating, they have the single and double tailgate hitches, which are really cool. They also, I'll bet you they have specials on their Christmas light display for next time. Why is my voice cracking? Because I'm excited about it. It's flagco.com, and they've been one of our longtime sponsors, and we're very, very grateful. So thank you so much, flagco.com. Can I do a quick TV update on a couple of things? Last night, and I DVR'd it, Marathon Man was on.
Great movie.
Great movie. With Dustin Hoffman and
Laurence Olivier.
Roy Scheider, William Devane.
Yeah. God, what a good film.
Yeah, it's really.
Is it Sif? Is it Sif? Is it Sif? Like you hate the dentist enough, and you see that movie.
You see the nerve is. Oh God! I mean, really a good one. So I can't wait to watch that. Also, BattleBots is back.
I love BattleBots.
It was on last night. The new episode. I didn't see it, but again, since it was on last night, it's going to be on again tonight on whatever channel. So and BattleBots, what a great show! What a great show! It just
There's a new Ghost tonight too, supposedly.
Oh, that's correct. And I have it circled. I've already got my DVR.
Did you ever watch the Christmas shows?
I never got it.
God, it was the funniest one.
I never got it. I don't know what happened. I'll bet it by accident. I probably because I had like 5 or 6 and I looked at them all.
Go on Paramount. It's Paramount, right? Yeah. CBS is Paramount.
Yes.
Go on Paramount.
Maybe so. Yeah. Which was cool. And let's see a couple things here. Oh, I tried to watch the special. I forgot what channel it's on. George and Tammy. About George Jones and Tammy Wynette.
Have you seen that yet?
I've DVR'd 2 or 3 of them, and I watched the first one, and the first one was kind of interesting. The second one, I just got kind of darker and darker, and honestly, by the time I tried to, I erased them all and said, I can't do it. It's dark and angry and cheating and
Well, that was there a lot of alcohol and
abuse and plus the guy who plays George Jones is the guy who played one of the monsters on Superman.
He's a great actor, but he's a really great actor,
but he looks like a monster.
Boardwalk Empire. He's and he's a complete lib too. By the way. But you need to watch Glass Onion. I started watching. I haven't finished it yet. That is really, really good.
What's that? I forgot what
that's the sequel to Knives Out, and you never saw Knives Out, so you need to see that first.
Daniel Craig, is that the one?
Daniel Craig. He plays I think he's gay, but they don't come out and say it. But he has a real affected Southern accent, and it's funny, and it's very well thought of. And Ana de Armas is in the first one. Knives Out. God, she's beautiful, and it's just so well written that you would love it. It's very good. Right. I started watching the second one with Glass Onion in it, and it's pretty good.
Anyway, the George and Tammy, I couldn't. It was just it was dark and dreary, just nasty and cheating, ugly, and ugh. And I used to love her songs, and George Jones too. I mean, he's real down home country, but they say he had. Country music fans and critics would say that he was maybe one of the best country voices that ever performed. Is what they say. I don't know if that's true or not.
I'm not that big a fan of his, but people who love him love him.
Monster.
He's right up there with Hank Williams Sr. for some people. Yeah. He's legit.
As much of an impact as the original country artists.
He's bona fide.
Yeah. Also, a new series was on called Will Trent.
Did you watch that?
I taped it and I started watching it. It's about Ansley Park, Georgia. Ansley Park.
Really?
Yes. And the star, Will Trent, is with the GBI.
What?
Yes. And at first I thought it was the FBI, and so it was said, an investigator does so, and I thought, oh, they're going to try to make the FBI look like really great guys all of a sudden. So I taped, looked back, and it's not the FBI, it's the GBI, but it's set at Ansley Park. And it's a murder case.
Wow.
And it's Ansley Park. But here's the thing. This is typical. Does this sound typical to you, the GBI? It's a murder case where a woman comes home and she sees blood and she goes upstairs and a guy tries to kill her and there's a murder and a struggle and a death. And a dead daughter, I think, or something. Anyway, and then so they investigate. And the next thing you see is this dapper, non-white. There's no white people anywhere to be found, apparently. And it's like he looks kind of half Jamaican or half Philippine. I don't know, whatever. And he's like wearing a bow tie. He looks like Mr. Peepers or something. He's very dapper and suave. And you see him coming up to the counter of a dog rescue place or YM or a PTA. What do you call it? A PETA place or a dog pound.
Pets or
and he's
people.
standing there at the dog with a little teeny little dog, and he says, "Yes, I've rescued this dog, and now I want to give him to you because he's not mine." And they say, "Oh, you look so good with him." He says, "Yes, but I don't." And they go back and forth, and then she says, "You look really hot with that dog." And they're kind of dicking around, and eventually he takes the dog. So here's Mr. Dapper Suave, and one girl said, "Oh, I got you. I saw your name before you signed the list. You're the guy who rounded up all those bad police officers and a guy rooted out all the evil in the police department. You're very famous for rooting out all those bad police officers." Well, that's all right. And he walks off, and he gets back to his car. His car is a Porsche convertible.
Porsche.
And on the side...
Wait a minute. It's a convertible?
A ragtop Porsche.
He's gay.
Yeah. Okay. And on the side of it, in paint, is snitch and traitor, which clues back to the turning in the cops anyway. So that's then he goes to, he's driving along, and another car, a black lady, a mean black lady pulls up next to him and yells at him. She says, "You're in trouble for taking this case." And he says, "You're the one who assigned me the case." He says, "Yeah, but you could have turned it down." She's his boss. So we have the angry black woman to the gay or pretendly bi gay or half racial something or other guy, dapper with a little new dog, and that's the GBI story in Ansley Park Murders series set in Ansley Park, and they show Georgia, they show Atlanta, it's all over.
They're probably filming it. It sounds like they're trying to do Monk.
Yeah. A cop monk.
Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah.
Shalhoub.
Yeah.
Because it's
Anyway,
I usually don't think of GBI.
I didn't finish watching
Porsches.
it because it didn't look like my kind of.
How's he affording a Porsche on a GBI salary?
Well, it wasn't new by a long shot. It was probably
An older
It was probably 20 years old. In fact, I don't remember. I may still have because I stopped watching. I'm probably not going to.
They're
watch
putting
it.
a lot of advertising to it. I mean, they're pushing it.
Yeah. And again, if you're into that sort, and again, there's no laugh track or anything. It's a serious. It's a serious, but it's obviously a murder mystery series, but it's got a lot of funny comedy, lighthearted stuff in it. So the kind of your typical thing that I'm not going to watch. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not going to watch it. It's not.
You just spent 20 mints on it.
But
Synopsis: I'm not going to watch
well,
it.
only because it was, here we go trying to make bad cops and a dapper half weird state investigator to make the GBI and the FBI.
They sneak their messages in every single show now.
Yeah.
From Wednesday. By the way, Wednesday's breaking records. It's saving Netflix. That
Really?
show is just taking off.
What are their big things on Wednesdays?
No. Wednesday, the Addams Family
the
the Tim Burton thing. Yeah.
I haven't seen a thing on my. Nothing's popped up
you
on
don't have
social media.
Netflix.
I know, but you'd think if it was,
It's
pop up as
everywhere.
kind of
The girl's now an instant star. Her name's Ortega or something, and it's just.
I'll be damned.
It's well written.
Well, Okay, ladies and gentlemen. We're now going to have a fundraiser for the Kimmers Netflix $12 a month fee or whatever the hell it is.
Get a Fire Stick or whatever. Holy cow!
I can't. I got too many
Hulu
other bad
or any of
things
that
in there,
stuff. YouTube.
badness in there.
Jeez.
Excuse
You can
me.
get it on your phone. You can get Netflix on your phone and watch it on your phone.
Well, that is not. Yeah, that I really can't wait to do that. Yeah, that's really good.
If it's a TV show, did you really need to see Seinfeld blown up on the big TV?
I don't know. All right, hold on.
I got a new name for you. You're the Resistor. The Resistor. No, I'm not going to do that. It's too damn easy.
You can't make me. You're not my mom.
Call someone to come over and set it up for me? Are you crazy? I resist.
Oh, my God. Coming up, did you... I'll do it right now for you.
Scotty, the window guy. Somebody get Kimmer the damn box.
Did you hear about the California arsonists who were attacking a business in Bakersfield? And they were attacking a business that provides services to immigration and naturalization people. So they were protesting illegal immigrants coming in, wanted to attack a business. So these two suspects set the company on fire. And security video emerged showing one of these suspects suddenly starting to scream because he had lit his own ass on fire when they set the candle off and with the gasoline, sprayed the thing with gasoline and set himself on fire, running off into the night with his buttocks on fire. The flames were put out about 10 minutes after responders got to the scene, and I think they caught one of the guys who's got a burned fanny, running away with flames trailing up his leg, and the other one screaming into the woods.
Hey,
so,
somebody needs to light a fire under that guy's ass.
There you go. Also, a horrible, a tragic case, but here we go. You got to be careful in these snowfall things, and there's another storm's coming too, hitting California right now, apparently going east. And you may know my daughter, my firstborn Jennifer, went to she went to Colorado State University. University of Northern Colorado. And that's where the president of the University of Northern Colorado and his son were doing backpacking on New Year's Eve. President Andy Feinstein and his son Nick were in an area known as the Numbers outside of Breckenridge, the famous ski resort.
Breckenridge.
And there was an avalanche. And Mr. Feinstein said I had to use my fingertips to dig out a pocket for me to even see light, so I knew where to dig out. 1 minute I was skiing and enjoying the powder. The next minute I was riding what looked like a violent wave of whitewash. The younger Feinstein was still buried in the snow. Andy Feinstein was able to dig himself out and ski 40 minutes to get to a cell phone to call 911. A rescue team responded with the sheriff's office to search for the son with a search dog, and then 2 hours later, they found his dead body. And the father and son say, we do this all the time. We're fit, experienced skiers and hikers outdoors, camping, fishing, up in the woods and the mountains and so forth. Avalanches have killed 3 people in America so far this winter. There was an avalanche Saturday, killed a snowmobiler in Montana. And another avalanche near Nitro caught 4 people in the backcountry near Chute, Colorado, buried 2 and killed one of them.
You know, we had an earthquake here 2 days ago in Middle Georgia.
Really?
2 point something, yeah.
I'll be damned.
Well, anyway, we don't have any risk of that happening here, so maybe...
Well, not the avalanche.
By the way, another person on this Wednesday show
–
is the big tall woman from Game of Thrones, the big girl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she plays the principal of the school, yeah.
Oh, oh, you mean the night, the fighting woman, night woman?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I liked her, yeah.
Yeah.
And because the guy was hitting on her all the time, and
The big ice guy.
she was a great character. She was huge. She was and athletic. I mean,
and she's not unattractive either when they doll
she's
her
just
up.
a big girl. Yeah. Let's see. I don't know. I put this in here to read sometime in. I've just found it on my phone. A meme going around here. Quote, I am old enough to remember when the medical fascists wanted to know your vaccine status to go to work, to go to a restaurant, to go to a ball game, to go to a concert, to go to college, etc. Today, quote, how dare you ask the status of an athlete who collapsed, you scumbag? How things have changed.
95% of all NFL players are jabbed. There's 5% that are not.
At least. I'll bet even more than that. I'll bet it's almost 100%.
Well, that's what the NFL says, 95%.
Well, and again, and by the way, just for the record, I don't mean to sound like a meanie about this, but how come there's still so much I mean, the guy, okay, I'm glad the guy lived. He woke up and said, "Did we win?" So his apparently his neurological.
Well, he meant did Kevin McCarthy win?
Yeah, exactly. But again, so that's great news and everything's fine. But still, all of a sudden now, do we have the Joy Behar? There's a soundbite out there, and I even hate playing. She's the dumbest person on television, and they were talking about this on that ridiculous show of hers, and she was making a point that it's a problem with masculine, to the non-gay men,
Right? I mean, my kid played football. He was.
That one?
Yeah. It's 20 seconds. You want to play this one?
It's a minute,
He's got to get it.
Just tell me when you guys want me to stop.
Yeah, do it right now. Sure.
Now.
Recruited for college, and he got a terrible hamstring injury getting hit. And I saw him collapse to the ground. Thank you. And he went through physical therapy for 6 months. And he realized at that point, that could happen to my brain.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he quit. And
Oh,
it was
he did?
he quit. And it was a very hard thing for him because he loved doing it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to turn people away from the sport because I went to Notre Dame. It's like faith, family, football. It's a big deal, and it's a $105 billion industry.
Yeah.
Well, like 45% of Americans think that tackle football is appropriate. Heterosexual men voted the most support for kids doing football, and conservatives were more likely to support youth tackle football. Just saying.
She's always got to make it a divisive bit.
She wanted to say white people. She didn't want to say conservative.
It's
all gotta be divisive.
Doing on television. I mean, the whole thing is just preposterous.
By the way, Rocco, my donation needs to go for a laptop for Kimmer so he doesn't have to squint to read his phone.
Well, I have my reading glasses, but I did. Rocco, I appreciate it.
He would resist.
I will resist.
Real quick, I'll put it on our Twitter feed, but there's a video of one of Elon Musk's rockets launching into space, does its thing, and then comes back and lands.
Wow.
And it's 1:40. It's unbelievable.
Oh, I think I've seen that video.
It's called Achievement.
Is that what it?
It's called, no, that's achievement.
Oh,
basically,
yeah.
which is what
Success.
Democrats hate.
Wow.
How
Pretty
dare
cool.
he get ahead of everybody else?
I know.
Well, the funny thing is I think we talked about this on the show the other day, or maybe the morning show. He was the man of the year a year ago.
He even said, he's on Twitter, he goes, just a few months ago, I was man of the year.
Now they hate you.
What happened?
Yeah. Well, in fact, he's ending his ban on political advertising, or the Twitter ban on political advertising. He's allowing it to come back to pump up revenue. Twitter banned it all in 2019, but he's allowing it back again. Meta, the Facebook boss, has been fined 390 million euros, like $400 million by Ireland for their cheating and privacy violations. The European Union got them for 900 million euros already too. Holy smokes. Good for them. Just for the record. Let's see. Oh, I can't. Did you hear about this lawsuit? And I remember the movie. If you're old enough to remember the movie by Franco Zeffirelli Zeffirelli.
Yeah.
Romeo and Juliet, 1968.
Gosh, she is beautiful.
It was the teenage star-crossed lovers in Romeo and Juliet, and they wake up in bed together, naked. And film critic Roger Ebert at the time, I used to watch Ebert and Siskel and Ebert all the time, Roger Ebert described it as a lot of fuss over it. The movie earned 2 Oscars and critical acclaim, became a classic adaptation of the Shakespearean story of Romeo and Juliet. 50 years later, plus, the 2 actors who portrayed the characters, Olivia Hussey, who is a beautiful young teenager.
Well, in her 20s, she is one of those beautiful women in the world.
Yeah, I mean, she was just, she had,
Her face,
milk and
angelic.
cream complexion. I mean, she looked like a porcelain doll or something.
Angelic,
Just beautiful. Okay, Elizabeth Hussey and Leonard Whiting have now filed a lawsuit against the film distributor Paramount, claiming the bedroom scene was deceptively filmed when they were underage and that they had been assured that no nudity would be included in the final product. Zeffirelli died in 2019, but the Paramount Pictures knew or should have known the nude bodies were secretly and unlawfully obtained during the performance. Yep. The company's now repackaging pornography. And they sued because there was a 3-year window. California temporarily passed a 3-year window that allowed the statute of limitations to halt for people who were sexually abused as children.
Right.
Could now have a 3-year period to say, this happened when I was 9 or 15 or whatever, so now I can. The window was closing, so they sued to make sure they were able to sue. But again, I didn't know they were actually nude. I thought they all used bodysuits. Wait a minute, they were naked teenagers together in bed?
They were told. You will be wearing body covers that look like your body.
They always
same
use
color.
blockers and stuff. Always.
But the morning of the shoot, Zeffirelli came to and said, no, it's going to be more realistic, but you'll have makeup on. You have body makeup on. And the thing was, it was all tasteful right there during the film, but when they weren't shooting, they were naked, and the film was running, and somebody got a hold of it. Somebody has used it.
What movie is this?
Romeo and Juliet,
1968.
Now, how old were they as teenagers? We're talking 15?
They might have been 20. I mean, they might have
they
been.
weren't that
well,
old.
they were underage, so they were under 18, I guess.
They were under, yeah.
Or was underage 20?
I think they're around 15, 16.
I think she was 15 or 16 years old.
He was 1 year older.
He was older.
1 year older.
But I think she was 16. And again,
And they were told, and that's another thing, they're going to get him. Now, he's dead. I don't know who they're going to sue. But, yeah, he told him one thing and changed it twice, basically.
Wow. I mean, they should lose everything. I mean, that's children.
Who's going to lose it?
Paramount. Their insurance company or somebody. Anyway, that's pretty bad.
Where can you see this?
What's that? Nothing. Well, that wouldn't, I got rather do other things.
Oh, Mark says the best part about Elon's rocket, it looks like Buck Rogers of the 21st spaceship when it's flying sideways. It does kind of have that look to
it. Cool. I was looking up some stuff because I think, did you want to do something today about what life was like 100 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
I've got one of those too.
It's a Joe Rogan thing, yeah.
I've got one of those myself. Also, a quick thing, there was a survey, and a survey showed that about half of American men think that we could safely land an airliner in an emergency. Not a Piper Cub, but an airliner.
Ooh, that'd
half
be tough.
the men could land an airliner in an emergency. I know I could get it to slow down and get it near the ground.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure I could actually land it. And I did that. I did it in the simulator, and I actually did it. But again, when I landed on the ground, I bounced it and took off again. So I didn't really actually come to a thing.
I found a clipping that I took from the 92 campaign from the Washington Bureau. Bush camp calls Clinton a womanizer and sissy.
I love it. I love it. When I was looking through my stuff, and I got a million other things here to keep doing too.
Keep talking.
Okay. Hold on one second. Two things for this over there.
All right, while you're doing that.
Yeah.
You can only pick 2 pills.
Okay.
Right? Flounder, you can listen to. You only pick 2 of these. The first pill, you can communicate with oysters.
Okay.
The second one, you get free gravel for life. Third one, you can teleport up to 7 inches away.
Well, sure.
Now think about that.
Yeah.
You can use that for anyway. Another one, you could grow a second nose.
If you're a cocaine addict, that would work.
Another pill, you can control any toaster with your mind. You can mess with people with that one. Or you could look 10 hours younger. You could take a pill where you could instantly see inside of any empty container.
That would be fun.
An
empty container, instant water. Yeah. Just
if you think about it, if you could move 7 inches like that, you could escape from death. All kinds of stuff.
Things. Yeah. Okay.
There was a kid TV show growing up, Little Lenny, and Little Lenny would wear a leather football helmet, and he would feature the standing pogo stick, which was a pogo stick with a thing on it. You could stand on it. It didn't have to jump up and down. And instant water, a box of instant water. Here on Little Lenny show.
Was Little Lenny special?
Yeah, he was.
Okay. The eighth pill, you can speak the extinct language of Khitan. And the final pill, you can run as fast as Albert Einstein.
I'll bet I could have beat
Dan
Albert.
Put that one in there. Thank you, Dan.
Oh, mercy. Can I read you a Dear Abby, which I thought was rather bizarre? It's a husband and wife, been married for 9 years. They have 4 young children, 5, 3, 2, and a 9-month-old baby. The woman says, Abby, for the last 3 years, my husband's been going to a week-long music festival where he camps out with a group of friends, many of whom are single. When they're at these shows, they partake in psychedelics and party drugs. The area is wild with scantily clad women and people partying to the fullest. I've explained to him that this bothers me, and I don't believe it's the best environment for a married man and the father of 4 little kids. I feel it threatens our marriage. He says I can come along if I want. But I would need to find childcare, and my parents aren't nearby or nobody else, so it'd be a burden to me. And I feel like a burden to him. He prefers going solo to get a release from all the everyday responsibilities of our life together. Each year I ask him not to go, but he does it anyway. I greatly appreciate your insight about this. Well, that seems pretty easy. He says, well, first, you're not a burden. You're shouldering an entire responsibility of caring for the family while he goes off and indulges himself. If this trip is your husband's 1-week escape from reality, is he willing to agree to the same thing for you? Yeah. Wait till he comes home and you say, all right, honey, I'm leaving tomorrow at 9 with my girlfriends. We're going to the Adirondacks or whatever, and they're going to take in some spa stuff at the, the friendly in the Berkshires or something for a week. You got the kids. See how he feels about that. Anyway, she says, While I would equate your husband's escape to the music festival with a hunting and fishing trip for some husbands take every year, the difference is there are fewer temptations on those other activities. If he's a good husband 51 weeks of the year, there's nothing you can do to dissuade him, then dwell on the positive. If not, you may do some serious thinking whether you want to continue this marriage. Come on. Just make it fair. Just say, okay, say I'm going to be gone for a week and see what he says. And then find out whether he still wants to keep doing it. And he's probably cheating on you.
You don't know that.
Anyway, marriage is freaking, it's unbelievable. One more. Is this another one? I think it is. My wife and I have assisted a local... Oh, here we go. My wife and I have assisted a youngster at birth, abandoned and bounced through the foster care. We helped him finish college and his first job. Here's the problem. He's become engaged to an attractive professional woman. My wife and I both like her very much. But he told us, this is a kid, kind of a foster kid, he told us that she insists upon bringing her parents on their honeymoon. And her parents feel strongly that they should go too, even to the extent of arguing with Samuel about it. I've never heard of anything like this. The fiancé is 28. Dear Crowded, unless you've been living together for a long time and he's very close to the family, advice I would give to have some premarital counseling before you go down the aisle with this guy. Holy smoke. That doesn't sound very non-peculiar. Anyway, I got one more I want to save for later because that's not a very good thing to think of. Where did Pete go? Pete left us? Was he making a head call? Before he comes back, I will do a couple of quick birthdays for today. Robert Duvall is 92.
He's still kicking?
92 and still going strong. And I was looking over at some of his movies. I don't know that he's ever done a bad role that I can remember. He's sure done a whole bunch. He's done a country singer, and he's done a farmer, and he's done a killer, and he's done the guy from To Kill a Mockingbird when he was played a mentally retarded potential killer. Duvall, 92, and he's done every role. I can't think of a bad role.
Trying to think.
Robert Duvall, 92 today.
No. What was that racing movie he was in with Tom Cruise?
Days of Thunder?
Yeah. That was actually an entertaining movie.
I didn't see it. It was bad timing. It came out right before Jeff Gordon hit his stride, and they were kind of doing a Jeff Gordon type thing. They should have one more year. It probably would have been a bigger
He's like
hit.
Jeff Gordon, 5'8" and dark hair. Yeah, he is Jeff Gordon. Diane Keaton is 77. Ted Lang from Love Boat, 75 today.
Ted Lang, wasn't he the bartender?
That'll be our outro music today.
Bradley Cooper, the actor, is 48. The luscious January Jones, 45 today, from Mad Men and a whole bunch of things.
Okay, I just got a phone call, and I had to take it.
Yeah.
And, smart asses. Elizabeth goes, Pete's talking to a man about a horse. And Scotty goes, Pete's launching a Democrat. I just stepped outside to take a phone call.
I thought you were taking a leak. I didn't know where you went. They're on you. They're turning on you, Pete. They're turning on you. They're calling you Snake again. Charlie Rose, former Atlanta guy, is 81. Today's nothing. He's a wimp. Pamela Sue Martin, that naughty little brunette. She was on Dynasty, Poseidon Adventure, and she was Nancy Drew. Yeah. And she is 70 years old today. Is that right?
That's
oh my God. Nancy Drew. Did you ever heard of the Hardy Boys?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I used to read those books as a kid.
I used to read them as a kid. I read them as a kid, and I think I read a Nancy Drew because it was basically the same thing, but it was a girl thing. But it was the Hardy. I read all the Hardy Boys books. We had them all. We had them all in our family library.
There was another pair of guys. It wasn't the Hardy Boys, it was something else, and I read them.
Spin and Marty was on Disney Boys.
Another thing that was a spin-off from that was Encyclopedia Brown.
Yeah.
I remember that was one I was big when I was a kid.
After my time. Kristen Cavallari is 36. She was in Laguna Beach in the hills, and she divorced Jay Cutler 2 years ago.
I was wondering, is she a gold digger?
Well, she's an actress, so she's probably...
she's not an actress.
So she's making somebody anyway. And two other things. Marilyn Manson, whose real name is Brian Warner, is 58 today, I believe. Or does that say 58 today? And his real, or 54, sorry. His real name is Brian Warner. He's the guy who was outed by Evan Rachel Wood and all these other actresses. You know the story about this?
About Marilyn?
Marilyn Manson and Evan Rachel Wood. She basically was his slave. With a whole bunch of other girls, described what he called his bad girls' room, which was supposed to be a recording studio, soundproof, and he would psychologically torture his girlfriends and dates and women in there. He had swastikas, black curtains, spray painted the word AIDS over his bed. The lawsuit against Marilyn Manson claimed that he would bite and electrocute with shocks, chase women around his place with an axe.
Okay.
Total freaking psychopath.
They knew what they were getting into the moment they looked at him.
And they put up with it for a while and then said, I can't take this torture anymore.
There's the
door.
Now
Now he's being sued by a whole bunch of them. And if you don't mind, one walk down memory lane. This is George Reeves's birthday. 1914, 1959. Superman on TV in the 1950s. I was Superman. I never missed an episode. My mother told me I would take a blanket and tie it around my neck and pretend to jump off the stairs. I would dive onto the couches and the beds and stuff. I was Superman. My next door neighbor was a little girl named Susie Graves, and her father was a psychiatrist, and he was of the thinking back in the 50s where you would allow your child to do anything. If you were having dinner in a dinner party and your 7-year-old came downstairs out of bed and said, "Daddy, I want you to read me a story," he'd go up and read him a story.
No.
Yeah. This was a thing. This was one track back in the early 50s.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. Well, it does. I mean, it was one of the things that was going around. Again, this was after World War II, beginning of subdivisions and communities in a whole different pattern, travel and moving. Anyway, so that was their family, and she would call my house and ask to have me come over and play with her. And she would bake me cookies in her little Betty Crocker oven with a little light bulb in it.
I thought you were building that she would be Lois Lane.
No. Well, she would be the Lois Lane to my Superman when I go over and tie a thing, and I'd be the Superman over at her house.
Tie her up.
Well, anyway, Superman. Remember, if you've never seen the series, the black and white series of Superman, all he had to do was take off his glasses, and they could tell you couldn't tell.
The colorized version was great.
You couldn't tell he was Clark Kent. But we were so easily able to just suspend reality, let it go. It's just okay. He's Superman. Oh wow. Thank God he's here. It's okay. He reached into a puddle of quicksand with a piece of coal. And 4 seconds later, came out with a 29-carat diamond right there from the pressure of his. Did
you ever see that movie that starred Adrian Brophy about the George?
I'm going to tell you about it right now. I'm not done with my story. By the way, we suspended reality for this show, but he takes off his glasses. George Reeves and his cast. Again, this is from 1950s in the TV show. Yeah. George and his cast were paid $200 per episode. That's it. $200. They had to beg after a couple of years and threatened to get another $50 a show. And when they did, the producer was so angry that they talked him out of it that he stopped speaking to him. George Reeves supposedly killed himself in 1959, but the FBI denies they murdered him. However, there is evidence of a murder plot that he was killed because he was stooping the wife of the MGM executive E.J. Mannix. The movie Hollywoodland with Adrian Brody is about the murder of George Reeves.
Good movie. It is a good movie.
I don't think I've ever actually seen it, but it is a good movie.
Ben Affleck plays George Reeves.
Yeah, that's right.
And does a very good job. And it really puts it in your mind whether it was an accident, suicide, or was he high or drunk when he did it, or just someone kill him.
And by the way, Ben Affleck is a really good actor. I mean, in The Town, and he's done some
Batman. He's a good Batman.
Yeah. Let's see, a couple of historical things, and then I want you to tell me about the girl who said "I love you" to you the first time you didn't know what to do. 1945, Japan was losing the war, and since most of their best pilots had been shot down or otherwise ineffective, it was on this day in 45 Japan started using kamikazes, suicide bombers, pilots with no training. They were taught how to aim the plane loaded with explosives, much like the Saudi Arabians who bombed us on 9/11. They weren't taught how to land. They were taught how to take over, how to fly it. They weren't taught even how to take off. They went into the cockpit and were told how to aim it, and that was it. That's the training they had, like with the kamikaze pilots. And they would load their planes with explosives and bomb into ships. At Okinawa, kamikaze pilots sank 30 ships and killed 5,000 Americans with the kamikazes. 1914, Henry Ford revolutionized the American workforce by deciding his employees should be able to buy the cars they were building. So Henry Ford began a wage of $5 a day for all workers, which had been unheard of. 1998, Sonny Bono lost control on the mountain, skied into a tree, and killed himself. After his Sonny and Cher rock stardom and TV show, Sonny Bono got himself elected mayor of Palm Springs in 1988 and elected as a Republican to Congress in 1994. The ski resort was on the border with California and Nevada. Its name, Heavenly Resort.
Well, his good friend George of the Jungle tried to warn him so many times. Watch out for that tree.
Watch out for that tree. Congress passed the copyright law with his name on it, the Sonny Bono copyright. And by the way, I almost died skiing on a slope. I was in Aspen, and I got to tell my ski story. No, it's very fast. It's very fast. It's very fast. It's very fast. And because I'm not a great skier, I'm an intermediate skier at best, or used to be. I haven't skied in years. I was an intermediate skier, and I just like to go down the mountain. I don't do moguls and little dippity bop. I go swoom and swing and I go long sides and down, and I just have fun. Just browse and go all the way up from the top, all the way down. Get on the chairlift and go back up and all the way down. I swear to you, all day. Don't stop for lunch. I just
Did
don't
you see
stop.
the guy who died in Utah? The chair ejected him.
Yeah, spit him off and killed him. He only fell 25 feet and died. It was 25 feet.
Did you see the guy that deliberately drove the Tesla off the cliff?
Yeah, with his family in it.
And all of them lived. No one was.
All of them
Yes,
lived?
no, none of them were seriously hurt.
Oh, he's up for charges.
Yeah.
Oh
guess
yeah,
what?
because he deliberately did it.
Yeah. So I'm skiing the last run of the day. The last run of the day. It's getting dark. It's like 4:30 in the afternoon. They close the lift, and so it said last run of the day. So I'm at the top, and I said to myself, "Geez, I wonder if I could downhill shush ski the whole damn way down there." Instead of going, long turns and having fun, to go
Downhill racer.
Downhill racer. And I was, I was 30 or whatever, and I was single and had and I was, whatever.
Daredevil.
And so I was up, I got to, and I started down, and then I started going so fast, completely out of control. Literally, honestly, I could have, anything could have happened, and I'm not making this up. I was so out of control, and the next thing I know, bam! And I had turned into the side of the mountain. And I hit it so hard, I literally into a snowbank. I bang into a snowbank, and I hit it so hard that it briefly knocked me out. My skis came loose, and my two poles, went so far into the snowbank, I never found them.
Wile E. Coyote. It's just an imprint.
Let me say this again. It's exactly what it was. I'm not making this up. My poles went into the side so far I couldn't reach them trying to find them. So I then had to, when I woke up, I got my skis back and put my skis back on and slowly made it back down to the bottom of the mountain. And I couldn't, honestly, I could have been killed.
That's what happens. You ski with that cheap Acme shit.
It's like Roadrunner.
Okay. Rocco says, no Thomas Edison stories today? Damn.
I can find one.
No. Yesterday, you don't know how close you escaped, Rocco. Yesterday was the anniversary of the elephant episode, which, by the way, they blamed not on Edison. They blamed on the owners of the circus did it, and Edison just filmed it. But we always heard the other thing.
Edison was proving that AC was dangerous. Right. He wanted to kill the elephant.
Well, they wanted to kill it too.
Yeah. Well, what happened was they were going to put the elephant down. I mean, they had to put the elephant to sleep. It was the end of it anyway. But still, Edison did it to make money to show that his current was better than whatever. Okay, all right, so Sonny Bono. All right, a couple of quick other things. 1959, Bozo the Clown aired for the first time on live TV.
That was big in Little Rock. The Chicago version. We got the Chicago version in Little Rock when I was a kid.
Really? Yeah. Everybody had Bozo the Clown. 1920, The Curse of the Bambino begins. The Boston Red Sox sell the Babe to the Yankees. And in 1957, exact same day, the Dodgers tried to trade Jackie Robinson to the Giants so he quit baseball.
Yeah, he wouldn't do it.
He said, no, sir.
I'm not playing for them. I hate them.
And he retired.
That was back before the fraternization.
That's right, Jackie Robinson. 2004, Ray Davies of the Kinks was partying with his girlfriend in New Orleans when two guys pulled a gun, grabbed her purse, and ran off. So Ray Davies chased them until they shot him in the leg. The cops, I think, got one of them. But in New Orleans, by the way, they're back again to the crime capital of the world. And when I was in here in Atlanta. And Al Smith, remember Bob Neal, who was the sports guy. Remember the sports guy, Bob Neal, had recommended my name to a guy in New Orleans who was looking for a news director, anchorman, to come and run his shop down there. So they called me and asked me to come down and do an interview. So they flew me down to New Orleans by myself to go check out the place. And I did an interview with the guy. And he said, well, walk around the French Quarter for an hour. We'll come back and we'll talk about whatever. And I said, okay, fine. So I'm walking down the French Quarter. I'm not making this a broad daylight. I walk in the French Quarter, turn around a corner, and there's two cops who are beating the crap out of this drunk homeless bum who had given him a bunch of lip or something. They're wailing away. So I said, afternoon, officer. Zoop, and off I went right back around the other corner. I said, well, you don't mess around with your cops in New Orleans.
Nope. Breaking news, Sophia says that McCarthy has now lost round 9.
Oh, my God. Again, fine by me.
Suck it.
I just, give it up, man.
Gridlock it where they don't do another damn thing. I don't care.
Shut it down. They never should have passed that budget. They should have had a continuing resolution for a lousy 3 weeks or something. They screwed America.
And look, and someone pointed this out on Twitter yesterday. We are so upset about this McCarthy situation far more than we were that they passed a $1.7 trillion boondoggle in less than 3 days.
Right, and that's the reason we're upset with McCarthy, because he allowed that to happen and did it under our noses, and nobody even let it just went.
Those Republicans looked you in the face the whole campaign and said, we're getting rid of those 87,000 IRS. That's we're not going to fund it. And they went in there and 29 of them voted to fund it.
That's right. They stabbed us in the back. And frankly, I tear them apart. I mean, honestly,
where do they live?
And I'll tell you this: if they get McCarthy and he gets to do what he wants, you might as well elect Nancy Pelosi again. I might as well have Democrats in charge, because when it gets to the Senate, they're going to kill it all anyway, thanks to Georgia. You freaking phony hypocrites who are allowed a deadbeat dad slumlord who believes in abortion at the last minute to be your congressman or a senator who's taking America down the shooter, as opposed to Herschel Walker. You couldn't vote for Herschel, but you vote for that guy? You freaking idiots. You just cost us the future. Anyway, one more history thing. 2004, Pop-Tart Britney Spears ended her marriage to a childhood friend, Jason Alexander, not George from Seinfeld. Britney's marriage lasted 3 days. Yes, the good part. By the way, wouldn't it be great to be married for 3 days and then this isn't working?
I think I have been.
And then months later, she married K-Fed, another young dancer friend of hers, and they lived happily ever. Oh no, they didn't.
They had a lot of kids together.
Well, I had a couple. I had a little something or other. I have even more of this, but let's do something different. Let's do. What was this about? I love you. Did you have something that happened to you with an I love you thing of some kind?
Someone pointed this out. Let me find it here a second. Yeah, they. For some 10-minute. It's right here somewhere. You would ask me about
I will
this
ask you a
one,
question while you're looking at. Do you have any interest in finding the truth about the famous Dreyfus affair?
Not
in
really.
history?
I know the French thing.
Yeah.
Not really. I'm
Okay,
kind of
it's
over that.
way weirder than I ever thought. But it's a.
Here's something.
Yes.
Don Larson. What do you think of when I say
Don Larson, perfect game of the World Series, although it wasn't an outside pitch.
Oh,
but it was close
it's
enough.
perfect
And
game.
he kind of moved the bat. So, yeah, okay. Don Larson, perfect game of the World
Now-
Series. After the last pitch, Yogi Berra comes out. Don Larson's acting kind of nonchalant, and Yogi jumps into his arms.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
You know that.
Yeah.
Do you know why Don Larson was so focused that day? I had never heard this until the other day.
I didn't know he was more focused
His
than
wife
normal.
did something.
Gave him a little something there before.
She filed for divorce
Oh, my God.
earlier in the day. He wasn't watching those batters. He was seeing his ex-wife in that batter's box
Wow.
every single time. He was throwing. He was.
Is that
just,
what the story was?
son of
Did
a
he admit
Western
that?
president.
He
No,
was-
no. I'm just thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Your
She
wife
filed
files for divorce.
He
I'll show you.
Throws a perfect game in the World Series.
Yeah. I mean, that just blew my mind. I had never heard that. I can't believe. Oh, by the way, are you tired of arriving to surprises at your weekend cabin?
Well, thank God we have someone who can take care of your problem for you.
You have a mountain home you're having trouble maintaining? Well, call North Georgia Intendancy. They can manage your North Central Georgia vacation, weekend, or rental house so you can relax at yours. Visit them at ngaintendancy.com or call them 770-595-6664. That's 770-595-6664. It's North Georgia Intendancy, and they'll take care of all your rental needs up there
you
in the
are.
old cabin.
Thank you for joining us as a sponsor. And again, if you go to thekimmershow.net, you can link up to 106.3 our radio station thing or the podcast to play back on Saturdays or when I called in Friday mornings at 7:30 or 7:25 or thereabouts and stuff. Anyway, or join us as a sponsor. And again, Venmo.
The Venmo's at the top right-hand corner of the YouTube thing here.
Please, we are trying to we're trying to not have to charge per listen. We're trying to make sure it's still voluntary, and so if you can make us a donation on Venmo or Patreon.com or what's the other one?
PayPal, Venmo, Patreon.
PayPal and Venmo, or we have a post office box address. You can send us a check.
What is that?
In fact,
Well, it's a series of numbers and an address.
I thought I had some more.
All right, it's
You know,
P.O. Box 1432.
Yeah, Alpharetta, Georgia. Zip code is 30009.
Kimmer Media is
Kimmer
what you
Media.
address the checks to in the
Right.
letter.
Kimmer Media, Post Office Box 1432, 1432, Alpharetta, Georgia 30009. And I sent out a couple thank you notes just this morning, in fact.
For some reason, Mama's favorite recipes asked the question, the worst response you ever got when you said I love you to someone.
Aha.
And Scott said, yeah, she said, thank you. David said, she said, I know.
Oh, this is like we're the first time we're saying?
Yeah. Now, Harrison Ford said that in the Star Wars movie when she says, I love you. He goes,
Yeah.
I know. Or something like that, before they froze him in
Yeah.
the carbonite or whatever they did it.
I know.
But the worst, I mean, the worst one is when they just kind of just look at you. Or something.
Yeah.
But I've never really had a bad experience because by the time I say it, you pretty much know that they feel it too.
I don't think I've ever had a woman say that. Oh, no, sorry.
I did once. On New Year's, I was hanging out with this chick. We'd kind of dated off and on, but I knew she was dating some other guy she was mostly serious with, and we were just palling around. But we found ourselves together at New Year's Eve, and said something about, and I gave a toast, and I said, to the most interesting person I've met this year. Really, she was that year the most interesting. I didn't say I was in love. I didn't say blah, blah, blah. I just said, you're the most interesting. And she looked at me and she goes, I can't say the same. And I said, I don't care.
Oh my God!
I
What a
don't
dumb
care.
thing to
First of all, I know I'm the most
I
interesting
think
person.
I know that girl.
Yeah, you may.
Talk about passive aggressive.
But you talk, but she was.
I think I married her.
Well, she ended up marrying the guy, so that's fine.
Thank
but it was
God.
nothing to do with love. It was just like I
Yeah.
just found you interesting this year. Good God, throw me a bone here. I bought you drinks. I'm out on New Year's, keeping you not alone. Where's Mr. Dreamboat? You know?
Oh God!
And that's what I got back.
It's like when I'm having dinner with Fraser Crane and Don Amici, and we were talking about what a great actor he was. And my date for that night said, "Oh, I really didn't think you were very good in that role." And I'm like, "Oh Jesus, I'm sitting next to the man."
Cocoon sucked. You all sucked at Cocoon.
God.
That movie was wet. All of you were wet.
Jeez.
Did I tell you about the Waffle House thing?
No.
You can now purchase waffle mix, Waffle House waffle mix, and it
And
tastes
take it
like
home with
their
you?
yes, it tastes like their waffles.
Well, what's in their mix? It wouldn't be in your Aunt Jemima waffle mix or whatever.
It doesn't taste the same. Waffle House
Well, I'd
waffles
buy that.
taste different.
I'd buy
oh
their
hell
mix.
yeah, I do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And in
Sprinkle.
fact, I have some Aunt Jemima. In fact, I haven't made waffles in a long time.
I found a waffle maker, by the way, when I was
I've
going
got
through my
one.
stuff, and I found a box of Aunt Jemima waffle pancake mix that I bought.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
I bought it in Tijuana.
You just add an extra egg or something and whatever.
But I bought it in Tijuana, Mexico, in 1984.
Oh.
And it's still got, of course, her and her do-rag and everything. It says Aunt Jemima, and above it says La Negrita.
The black woman?
The black woman.
Oh my God.
La Negrita.
Well, they still have real Coke and stuff down there too. I actually used to love to go to Mexico. You know, it was an hour and a half away, and you're on the beach 40 minutes later. And anyway,
Well, you told us about Williams College being the most liberal.
yeah, one of
Your
the
brother
hardest
went
to get
there?
into. Yeah,
And it's pretty liberal.
very liberal.
For every Republican on the faculty at the top-ranked liberal arts college in America, Williams, for every one Republican, there are 132 Democrats.
Oh, but it's more than that. I guarantee you there's not 10 Republicans in that whole campus. My brother went there. He was an
Yeah.
economics major at Williams.
The faculty ratio at other schools in the top five varies from as low as 34 to 1 and as high as 136 to 1 in favor of Democrats.
I guarantee you it's more than that.
You see the new Washington mascot for
I
the
just
Commanders?
see Big Fat Pig.
Major Tutty.
Is that the actual mascot?
That's the mascot. It's a pig. It's a
Oh,
hog.
that's horrible.
What's the hogs? Remember the offensive
but,
lineman?
But it's a cartoon. They ought to do a real one. They ought to do nasty
real
looking
pig?
ones with like razor teeth and stuff.
Like Bevo, the
Yeah,
Longhorn? They should have a
yeah.
real pig?
Yeah.
I kind of
You
like
don't
that
want a
idea.
fat, puffy.
And here's
doughboy.
another thing. Commanders is a wussy name. Why didn't they name
Yeah.
them the Commandos?
I don't.
Commandos
Get
is a much better name. That's just my
it.
opinion.
I don't get it.
We welcome yours.
I don't know.
I don't
None of that stuff made any
Oh,
sense.
by the way,
to
the
me.
Sebastian County Sheriff's Office tweets, "We will be mailing out W-2s on January 2nd to everyone who told us how to do our jobs this year."
Can I bring out one of my favorite? Well, it's just one of my favorite jokes.
Bring out
I think we may be talking about what life was like 100 years ago, and I found an old thing with a couple things on it. While I was doing that, I found something that has many.
I'm not going to the bathroom. I'm just over here.
Okay, thank you. Of a guy, kind of a helpful hint that a guy found out that this guy's wife found out that their dog, a Schnauzer, could barely hear. So she took the dog to the veterinarian. The vet found that the problem was that there was too much hair in the dog's ears. And so the vet cleaned both the ears, and the dog could hear them pretty well. But he said, if you want to keep this from happening again, you really should go to the store and get some of that Nair, that hair remover that ladies use on their legs and so forth, and rub it in the dog's ears just once a month or something, and that will stop the hair from growing too long. You won't have the problem. She said, that's great. So her name was Andrea. She goes to the store, and she bought some Nair hair remover. At the register, the pharmacist told her, well, if you're going to use this under your arms, don't use deodorant for about 3 or 4 days. And she said, oh, no, I'm not going to use it under my arms. She said, oh, well, remember, if you're using it, if the first time for you, if you're using it on your legs, don't use body lotion for maybe 2 or 3 days afterwards. And she said, oh, I'm not using it on my legs either. If you must know, I'm using it on my Schnauzer. The pharmacist says, well, in that case, I wouldn't ride a bike for about a week.
German, was it? On that note,
Yes.
Daryl says,
Yeah.
"You're okay." Planets are big, right? Planets are big.
Big, yeah.
Did you know you could fit 63 Earths inside Uranus?
Sometimes it feels like it at 3 o'clock in the morning.
What are you talking about? Oh, my God. There is a town in Massachusetts named Sandwich. You've ever been
I know
there?
that. Yeah, it's
There are literally police cars labeled Sandwich Police.
Oh no, it's a sandwich police.
God bless me. Cheese it. The Sandwich Police.
I think I got arrested there once when I was a kid going to the Cape. I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Chloe says, I never thought of it this way. You know, New Year's resolutions?
Yeah.
There are literally no rules saying that your New Year's resolutions cannot be for evil.
That's true. I resolved to run over a pedestrian.
This way, I will not get caught killing someone.
Or running that red light again.
When I was
be more careful.
when I was driving in today, I thought of a joke about time traveling.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you guys.
Yeah.
But you didn't like it.
Oh, very funny. Thank you.
I decided that from January 1st, I'll only be watching videos in 1080p or higher. It's my New Year's resolution.
Yes.
1080p, get it? Tell Mike that joke. He'll love that. Engineer joke.
Engineer joke.
What's the joke?
All right, you weren't listening. On January 1st, I'm only going to watch videos in 1080p or higher. It's my New Year's resolution.
Oh, Jesus.
The resolution of the 1080 or
Mike
higher.
will love that. Yeah, he will. What did the judge say to the dentist?
What did the judge say to the dentist?
Do you swear to pull the tooth, the whole tooth, and nothing but the tooth?
Kitty, he's in my bag again.
Sounds painful.
Funny tweet that just came across. Our almost 3-year-old daughter found our Ouija board and is using it to practice her numbers and ABCs.
Oh, get rid of it. Uh-oh.
We did that 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's all right.
Because the responses were kind of funny to it.
Just
Yeah, what could go wrong? You know, Iraq veteran 8888 says, in the South, we work hard for what we have, and we are also willing to kill for the people we love. So before you decide to move here and bring your bullshit with you, do yourselves a favor and fucking don't.
Speaking of language, have you heard the soundbite of the hideous Cardi B?
No.
Making the rounds late. Flounder, you want to get that? It's got some bad words, although I think they beat most of it. Although, well, I don't think they beat all of it. And again, the reason I thought it was amusing that's making the rounds is because, don't forget, it wasn't long ago when every leftist woke person in the world was complaining about the song Baby It's Cold Outside, because they wanted to seduce the girl and how this was so rapist and hideous and scumbagly, and yet they all voted for the #1 song in America at the time was WAP, which was the disgusting, hideous thing by Cardi B. Well, here's now the new American heroine of the left, apparently, that they love her stuff, but God forbid you try to seduce a girl. Here's Cardi B talking about how even she somehow is aware of inflation in America today.
Tell you something. When I be complaining about food prices, and y'all motherfuckers be like, "Ain't you rich? Why you complaining about lettuce? Why you complaining about this?" That just goes to show me when you become successful, when you have money, you're gonna go broke soon because y'all not budgeting. I get a summary of the money that's being spent in my home every week. So when I'm starting to see that like groceries is like tripling up, it's like, hey, yo, what the fuck is going on? I want to see for myself what the fuck shit is being spent on. And like when I go to the fucking supermarket, like I went to the supermarket, I'm seeing that everything tripled up. That like lettuce was like $2 a couple of months ago, and now it's like fucking $7. Of course I'm gonna say something. The fuck? Because if I think that shit is crazy, I can only imagine what middle class people or people in the hood is motherfucking thinking. So yes, I'm going to say something. The fuck? And I have a big platform, so I do want anybody that's responsible of these fucking prices to put that shit the fuck down. They're gonna
Was
she's fine, but the left is fine. This woman is now a leader of the leftist movement.
She came out 2 years ago talking about the taxes, and they all yelled at her, so she kind of got quiet.
Yeah.
But she put out, she's going to be Republican in 5 years.
Well, this is amazing. What's going on right now is
and
absolutely
smart for her
amazing.
that she's paying attention to her budget, what
Good for
her
her.
entourage is spending of her money.
Yeah. I look at what my entourage is spending every week.
Yeah, that's exactly, because none of them do.
Yeah.
A perfect example is, remember MC Hammer, how much money that guy made? He blew everything.
Yeah. Wow. And speaking of being watchful things, you were telling me a story about a woman doctor.
Woman doctor
is
yes.
so woke. Speaking of woke.
Yeah. She put out, and Joe Rogan talked about it. He says, this is just insanity that someone would say something like this. Dr. Natalia, that's her name.
Yeah.
Doesn't say where she's from. I will never regret the vaccine, even if it turns out I injected actual poison and have only days to live. My heart is and was in the right place. I got vaccinated out of love, while anti-vaxxers did everything out of hate. Yeah, where we lived. If I have to die because of my love for the world, then so be it. But I will never regret or apologize for it. So Dr. Eli David wrote back, okay, evidence-based medicine is out. Love-based medicine is in.
Again, they don't. I mean, they aren't hearing what they're saying. They were.
Joe Morgan says you would not regret injecting poison when you were lied to.
That's not true. Come on, lady. It's like it's from the very beginning when they said, "Well, gee, great idea. Let's defund the police," and no one said, "What? What are you talking about?" I mean, it was just these things are so obvious. I mean, looking back, some historian is going to have to say, what were they thinking? I mean, how could they have even started down that road?
Our leaders. They're going to look at our leaders and go.
I thought there was a Republican Party that stood for something. Well, thank God they are now. I hope they don't care. I mean, honestly, I'm
they're going to have to at some point.
Somebody's got to give.
Either that or a Democrat's going to be in there.
Or he's either that or McCarthy's going to have to agree to something so powerful that he basically does what this group wants.
Fix the border.
That they are convinced, fix nothing to Ukraine until the border's done. Get rid of the 87,000, block the 1.7, get rid of all that woke crap that's in there, and I mean, just start over. Just go back to the
I'm surprised he hasn't started talking to Democrats.
Huh?
They have.
Well, and again, even if they pass something in Congress, the Senate's still going to kill it thanks to Georgia. 2 Democrats from Georgia. Jesus, God. I mean, come on. Anyway,
Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
So all this whining, wants everybody to quit whining, and he puts it in perspective. For a small amount of perspective at this moment, imagine you're born in 1900. When you were 14, World War I starts. It ends on your 18th birthday, 22 million people dead. Later in that year, the Spanish flu epidemic hits and runs until you are 20. 50 million people die in 2 years. When you're 29, the Great Depression starts. Unemployment is 25%. That runs until you're 33. The country nearly collapses along with the world economy. When you turn 39, World War II starts. You aren't even over the hill yet. When you're 41, the U.S. is fully pulled into the war. Between your 39th and 45th birthday, 75 million people die in the war, and the Holocaust kills, what he says, 12 million. At 52, the Korean War starts, and 5 million more perish. At 64, the Vietnam War begins, and it doesn't end for many years. 4 million die in that conflict. Approaching your 62nd birthday, you have the Cuban Missile Crisis, a tipping point in the Cold War. Life on our planet as we know it could have ended. Great leaders prevented that from happening. As you turn 75, the Vietnam War finally ends. Think of everyone on the planet born in 1900. How do you survive all of that? A kid in 1985 didn't think their 85-year-old grandparent understood how hard school was. Mm-hmm. Yet those grandparents and now great-grandparents survived through everything listed above. Perspective is amazing.
100 years ago, 6% of all Americans had graduated from high school. 2 out of 10 adults could not read or write. Crossword puzzles, canned beer, and iced tea had not been invented. The population of Las Vegas was 30. 18% of households 100 years ago in America had at least one full-time servant or domestic helper. 100 years ago, 100 and a few years ago, the life expectancy was 47 for men. Fuel for automobiles was sold only in drugstores. 14% of homes had a bathtub. 8% of homes had a telephone 100 years ago. The maximum speed limit in most cities was 10. The average wage in America in 1910 was 22 cents an hour. A dentist made $2,500 a year. 90% of all doctors had no college education 100 years ago. Wow. Women washed their hair once a month and used either borax or egg yolks for shampoo.
Borax.
Canada, 100 years ago, passed a law that prohibited poor people from entering their country for any reason. No, you don't.
Back the fuck up.
The 5 leading causes of death in America in 1919 were pneumonia and influenza, tuberculosis, diarrhea, number 3, 4, heart disease, and 5, stroke. 100 years ago, and a few.
Why does it take so long for a Polish baby to be born?
They have to find the mother? I don't know what.
It's looking for a flashlight.
I love Polish women. That's not nice.
Why did the Polish man lose his job as the elevator operator?
Well, I don't know.
He couldn't learn the route.
The route, ladies and gentlemen.
You hear about the new Polish invention?
No.
A solar-powered flashlight.
A solar-powered flashlight. Why did the boy drop his ice cream?
I don't know.
Because he was hit by a bus. Roses are red, violets are blue. I have a gun, get in the van.
I like that
I think you did that one. An Irishman walks out of a bar. See, these are anti-jokes. What's red and smells like blue paint? Red paint?
Get your bad text ready.
Wait a minute, I got more.
I've been ready for like half an hour.
A dyslexic man walks into a bra. Knock, knock. Knock, knock.
Oh, who's there?
To
To who?
To whom?
You bastard. That is perfect for you, you bastard.
Wait a minute, I got one more.
Grammar Nazi.
I got one more. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Dave.
Dave who?
Dave proceeds to break into tears as his grandmother's Alzheimer's has progressed to the point where she can no longer remember his name. And last one.
Oh, please.
What's sad about 4 black people in a Cadillac going over a cliff?
I don't know if you should finish.
They were my friends.
Okay.
Come on. See?
All right, we're at November 30th.
See?
See?
Wait a minute, I got a couple of history
I
things.
gotta trust you. All right. Well,
All right.
One. You get one.
Oh, all right.
Unless they're short.
Oh, I get, well.
Flounder's ready to fall asleep over there.
1973, George Steinbrenner bought the Yankees for $12 million. Today, $6 billion.
$6 billion.
Holy smokes. Henry Bradley in 1871 patented oleomargarine. Have you even heard of oleo, Flounder?
Flounder?
You ever heard of the name oleo? Have you?
Well, that was big when we were
that was
kids.
it. That was, you either had butter or oleo. That was it. Let's see. 1496, Leonardo da Vinci wrote in his notebooks he had tested his flying machine, but it didn't work, and he wouldn't try it again for many years.
What's red and bad for your teeth, according to Scott?
I don't know.
A brick.
Oh, God. 1969, Holy Yoko Batman, the new album by John Lennon called Two Virgins, featuring Lennon and Yoko on the cover nude, were confiscated at the airport in Newark, New Jersey, and Vice Squad coppers raided a Chicago record store, shut it down for displaying pornography. Yep. And if you remember seeing the picture, it was fairly disgusting.
It's ugly.
I mean, hideously disgusting.
Yes, it was.
Oh, anyway.
Is it time?
Yeah, do
Bad
whatever you want.
text here. Okay, it's the man and the guy.
Gotcha.
Are you the man or the guy?
I'll be the guy.
Man and the guy.
The guy. Okay, I'll do the
You
narration.
got to do the
here.
narration.
Man walks up on a guy laying on the ground.
All right.
Hey, what happened?
I fell down.
I can see that. How come?
I bought these shoes from my drug dealer.
You bought shoes from your drug dealer?
Yeah. Don't know what he laced with them, but I've been tripping all day.
Don't know what he laced him with,
Laced
but he's
them
been
with-
tripping
All
all day. He's been lacing and tripping.
Let's do the next one here.
Maybe
Girl
let
and
a-
a guy. Yeah.
Sober people might not get that one.
Yeah.
Get this one?
You should read it the way it's written. But anyway, girl and a guy. You got that one?
Yes.
All right. You're the girl or the guy?
The guy.
All right. I had a dream I was floating in a vast ocean of orange soda.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, but it was just a fantasy.
Oh, God.
Fantasy. S-E-A.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Is that a good one? Should we stop or one more?
One more.
One
one
more.
more. Take a
It's
chance.
It's a cop and me. Which one?
I'll be the cop.
All right.
Do you know how fast you were going?
I kind of feel like that's your job.
Three's a
Hold
charm.
on, I'm on the phone.
Yeah, try that one.
Yeah, try that one. I'm on the phone.
Kind of feel like that's your job.
Or my other one of the favorites is the guy answers the phone and the girlfriend says, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Well, I guess I'm probably failing my driving test." Anyway, boys, have a great weekend. And again, hoorah, God bless you. Thank you, America. And the world, Finland, Holland, Sweden, and all over the place. God bless America. Hoorah, I gotta go. You're killing me. Hot herp and whoo, look out.